who's going to come out on top. Wow, what a save. Oh, he's another one!
Nah, it's been turned off now.
Oh. Well, good evening. I don't know if is Mull talking? Mull's not talking tonight, is he?
No, I don't think so. It's just us, mate.
Well, so good evening, Octane Online Racing. My name is Patrick Oliver, and tonight for the first split, I am joined by Braden Ross and Glenn Germain. Welcome in,
Hello,
guys.
Hello.
G'day, Pat.
Very exciting. I'm seeing some rain on the screen at the moment.
Oh my God, Bender. Is he in this split? I think so, right? He would be loving this, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
In the
Self-proclaimed
next
god
one.
of the rain.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if the boys had watched last night, they'll have been out there practicing on their wet setups today. Last night was as fun as it gets. Great spectacle.
I will admit, as soon as I saw Split Yellow was wet, I jumped straight into a single player session and made sure I had at least tyre pressures close. The car probably would have felt terrible. But we are a couple minutes into the first qualifying of the evening, and let's see how everyone is holding up. Here we have... is it
Stimson.
Gary? Glenn? George?
Graham.
There we go. And he goes a little bit wide there, keeps it valid, but did he maybe get some laps in the dry first, or was it always wet? His Delta, or maybe the Delta just won.
Yeah, because they've just ticked over. So he's done an outlap, I think.
Yeah, I think if last night was anything to go by, the kind of wet quality times we'll be looking for about 1:35, 1:34. It doesn't look as wet as it did last night though, so perhaps we might be getting people dipping into 33s and 32s. But yeah, just to give you guys a bit of a gauge on what times we'll be looking at to see how people are faring as they cross the line.
That's interesting. Hopefully they have their pressures a bit closer than the stories that I heard about Split Yellow last night in the first race.
It was next to impossible. It was next to impossible to have your tyres in the correct pressure because it was wet at the start. Tyre pressures were great for the first maybe 10 laps or so. Sorry, 10 minutes. But then the track started to dry out and there was no water on the track whatsoever to even cool the tyres down. My personal experience, my tyres got up to about 35 psi. For those of you that aren't familiar with tyre pressures in the game, that is blisteringly hot. They are volcano tyres.
You got some Rocket League tyres on at the end there.
Yeah, absolutely. That was they were balloons by the end of the race. Very hard in the braking zones, very hard to get the car rotated as well, just because you have very minimal traction with the tyres, just being on the tippy toes, the centre of those tyres as they ballooned out. But we are seeing some times coming through. The fastest we've just seen Andy O'Hara, surprise, surprise, a 1:32.5. So, not as wet as it was last night. I dare say that'll definitely be improved on as the track evolves, as we get a little later into this qualifying session. But at the moment, 32.5, Andy O'Hara, the one to beat.
Definitely. It'll be interesting to see how he can wrangle this 23 Ferrari around what is quite a tricky track and dry, especially for the rear-wheel drive cars, let alone throwing some precipitation out there and trying to dodge more. It's probably in their favour, I guess. But it seems quite tricky for that first chicane, especially just dodging all of the Yeetus.
Yeah, as we just saw O'Hara go through that first chicane and got a little bit squirrely on the exit and ran a bit wide with his tyres into the sand and the grass. People that will be a little bit happier around this track are drivers like Sneakers. Sneakers is in the Bentley. Bentley, a very friendly car around the circuit. Can eat every single curb as if they don't exist. I believe that our missing drivers are going to be happy around here as well.
As Reynolds goes P2. Still half a second off Andy, but these last 2.5 minutes are probably going to be quite crucial as you start to get the flow of the track in the wet, and your pressures should hopefully be in that sweet 30 psi range. See, that is the exact same line as the dry. That's magnificent.
Yeah, I was in the Bentley last night as well, and I can say it is fantastic to take around the circuit. Yeah, so Nikas is having a bit of a field day around here at the moment. Still 7/10 off pole position, but if we look at the delta, he's half a second up at the moment, so that'll be good enough to put him up into P2 within touching distance of P1. He's losing a little bit of time. He's not quite finding a whole lot of time in this third sector of the circuit as he comes into the last two corners. See if maybe you can find a little bit there. Stays a little bit steady. He finds a 10th mid-corner. He's up 2/10, almost 2.5. Yeah, 2/10. So 6/10. That'll still only be good enough for P2, unfortunately.
1.5 tenths. I think, unless Andy has parked it up. Ooh, that's a bit of a interesting little drift-do schmiff-do into turn 1 there, but there's a bit of traffic there. That's not what you want to see, especially in a quali session in the wet. Wow. Who are our moves and shakers? Oh, here's Andy.
Andy again, over half a second up. That's incredible. I don't think anyone's going to be able to touch him in this qualifying session just by the looks of things. He wasn't able to improve last lap due to the poor exit out of the first chicane, but it looks like he's tidied that one up. And he's slowing right down, creating space. He wasn't happy with that lap. Thinks he can do a little bit better and wanted to get the traffic clear in front of him.
I would say that he was just more unhappy with how quickly he got that car in front and knew that he probably, I don't know if he would lose too much front from being that close in that last little complex of corners, but probably scared that he would have a bit of a pace differential between that car in front and himself.
There's 4 drivers, or 3, that haven't set a time as yet, that are still struggling to get a valid lap in, including Dan O'Donnell, who had a very good outing at Kyalami in the 9 hour.
And let's hope they have started a lap and can just get one on the board, because that's half the game around here, is just getting something on the board, as we'll hopefully not see come to fruition. Let's see what kind of time we can put on though. Delta's lying to us.
Yeah, he does have a little bit of traffic up ahead, but I'm sure he'll just be happy to get a lap in and get himself up from P36 and see where he places himself. Yeah, jumps up to P14.
That's a good jump.
And there were 2 other cars there, I think, that were already in the pits that didn't get a lap in, so it's a bit, as Bruno Gallo goes P5, that's a great time. Andy up a 10.5, still in P1, just a bit of security time, probably.
Yeah, not quite the gains that he would have found on the previous lap that he backed out of. He was up half a second on the previous lap, but just to secure the pole and rub a little salt into the wound of everyone else. There you go, sticks it on pole with a 132.4.
Do you expect anything different?
No, it looks like we've got the likely culprits pushing towards that top 10.
Yeah, definitely. It's good to see a good mixture of cars there too, with your Lamborghinis and, well, then there's the party of Porsches. Even a Nissan sneaks into that really important position of P12. If anyone is new to this format in the chat tonight, we have 2 30-minute super sprint rounds, and the second race is a reverse top 12 grid race, and then a super quali for position 13 and below. So that is I think it's a great format. It's a good improvement on last season's 20-minute, 40-minute super sprint, and I think it makes it a lot easier for the admins as well, with the weighting of the points being exactly the same for both races. So
yeah, and I was saying last night, the beauty of these super sprint rounds is if something goes terribly wrong in race 1, you get a second chance to push and try and get a little bit of, just score a couple of points in that second race. I'm just looking at these conditions at the top right. That is rain increasing towards the end. So it's not
That's a
going to be
minus,
as
isn't it?
challenging as the drying race that Split Yellow had to face last night. So these guys, the only challenge that they're facing at the moment is get your tire pressures right. Once they're right, you should be okay for a majority of the race,
I
depending
think
on
that's a
when.
minus,
That is a minus actually, but still,
but
I
probably
do
not.
believe it's going to be wet the whole race.
Cloudy with a chance of wet, moisture. But I don't know. How did you find your race? Were you trying to find that water off the line where you could? Is that kind of how you played it?
Not really, to be honest. My tires were okay until it started to dry up, and when they started to not be okay, there was not enough water on track to even utilize. So it just turned into deal with it. Also, the crossover of wet to dry was at a bit of an odd period of the race where once you start contemplating if dries are better, that was probably the best time to come in. Um, as we just see the safety car launch through, go through as quickly as possible. I've never seen the safety car go so fast past me as I did last night. It just yeets it through. But yeah,
Also,
so it took about 2 or 3 laps to consider are dries better? Yes, dries are better. But once those laps were gone, you had to make up so much time on the cars ahead for it to be worth it. I think one of the other guys worked it out to be about 5 or 6 seconds a lap, not to mention the overtakes that you would have to make in the tricky conditions and not knowing what the other cars are going to be doing. It made it
it's too
very
big a gap.
So yeah, I think a lot of drivers are in the same boat. Just deal with it, and if your tires pop, so be it. Bad luck.
Yeah, the couple that we saw come into the pits last night and throw dries on never really got near the times of the fastest runners out there. I remember there was a time there where the dry runners were running at 1:38 and Philippa was still going around at 1:32. So, but of course that's a dramatic difference, but I don't think it ever really crossed over.
Nah, a bit of a Seb Vettel moment there. I think they were just pulling at straws, and unfortunately caught the shortest one there. I think the idea might have been there had that first race been an hour. What's the difference between a hippo and a zippo? One is really heavy and the other is a little lighter. Well,
After last night, it looks like race control's given up on the Bender facts.
well,
they've been defeated by Bender himself. No surprise.
Okay,
And
here's
now they're trying
something
to
I
come up
learned
with lame
today.
jokes.
Here's a quick fire Bender fact for you. Did you know that the woodpecker wraps its tongue around its brain whilst it pecks wood to protect itself?
That's awesome. That's a great fact.
That's
I'm glad I heard
very
it from you and not Bender.
Well, would one of you gents like to do the first race of tonight?
I'm happy to call this one. I don't like calling reverse grid because it becomes a bit of a tongue
Sadness.
twister.
I'll take it away, Braden Ross.
So leading the way, obviously, Andy O'Hara, Sneakers lines up beside him, followed by Reynolds, Herbert, Gallo, Kitching, Van Vliet, Lamb and Green. They round out your top 10. Van Vliet and Green, obviously, Pro-Am drivers. So up the top end of the Pro-Am class. As we're just nearing the line, hopefully we can have a clean turn 1, turn 2, and hopefully turn 3, because it doesn't seem like the mess is ironed out until that chicane. We've gone green. Andy O'Hara gets a great jump, but Sneakers is right there beside him, runs a little bit wide, loses a bit of traction in that water, so he's going to lose that position, and Andy O'Hara's run away with it. Got a little bit of some slow cars towards the rear, but we haven't had any spinners yet, which is looking really good. So far, so good for this split. Nice and clean. Yeah, Andy O'Hara's really run away with that race start. Bit of a textbook start there. Nikas didn't really have an answer for him. Tried his best on the outside, but obviously it's not where the grip was, and you want to take it safe in turn 1, because if you destroy your race there, you destroy your whole night. So we just see a Porsche trying to slip it up on the inside of another Porsche. It's Green and Van Vliet, Pro-Am battle for the top 10. Got 3 Porsches in a row here. It's a bit of a gaggle there, split by the McLaren of Bugden in P12. Not the ideal overtaking position. We've made contact, and there is a Porsche around us. A little bit of sadness.
That is a very unfortunate area of the track, especially with how long you have to wait for the whole pack to go by. There's not a lot of safe spots to get back, but hopefully that was Connor Kingston. Hopefully he can make a bit of a recovery drive here. Not the worst car in the Porsche, but still 28 minutes of racing to go, and so much can happen as that board just wants to be part of the action. I don't know if anyone saw that in the background.
Yeah, I did see that. We've seen some interesting signage yeets at Zolder in the past as two cars just pirouette in tandem.
No.
It looks like they got a little bit heavy on the brakes and just lost the rear.
As Scott Blyer straight across the sand.
Yeah, he did really well to avoid that one. I think that was really the only option that he had. So good job, good heads-up driving by Blay, there to avoid that one. Yeah, that was
still green. Yeah, that was maybe just a bit too much curb and paint on those first couple of laps, getting your tyres into the pressure.
Yeah, it didn't look like there was any contact at all. It just looked like they both kind of missed their braking zone and had to go a little bit heavy on the brakes coming into the corner. And in the result, they kind of spun in tandem.
That 4 Porsches in a row. Chat, how many Porsches are we going to see in a row tonight out of the like 6 or 7 that are in this split?
Well, at the moment, it's looking like we can only see a maximum of 5 in a row because the other Porsches have suffered a little bit of sadness throughout the opening stages of this race.
Yep. Maybe that's it. Good one there in chat, Ferrex. Maybe there was no change of the brake bias. You usually take a bit rearward, I believe, in the wet, but here we're going to see I like Spidey, our P4 in class, P15 overall, probably looking to get as close as they can to that P12 position, the ultimate position for the reverse grid to start in the front row, as Andrew O'Hara 132.7. Yep, he's having a great time.
Yeah, it looks like he hasn't really been able to extend out a massive gap on Sneakers yet. Sneakers is right there keeping him company, but it's already turning into a 2-horse race between those two. P3 lagging behind, but has a lot of clear air back behind.
Look at that gap. They're just they're like a corner ahead of everyone else. As we see our first replay, this is Siciliano.
This will be our tandem spin.
Hopefully there was no help.
Oh, there's help.
There was help. And Scott Blyer says, I'm not taking that corner, I'm going straight across here.
Yeah,
they did well to keep
Siciliano there. He just looks like he broke way too late coming into that corner. Hard to judge in these conditions if you haven't practiced them. But dare say, not many of these drivers would have. But as you said, would have been wise to do so after seeing what Split Yellow had last night.
We lost someone. Did Regan Herbert have a spin? Was he up? Ryan Green is up to P5. This is a great job from these two pro-ams, these two leading pro-ams.
Yeah, I think they started P8 and P10 respectively. So they are climbing the field and avoiding all of the carnage. And Lamb is next in line, who has a 5-second margin to Reynolds up ahead to P3.
Lamb seems to be having a little bit of issue under the brakes there. I know the McLaren isn't the best with its brakes in the dry, so maybe it takes a little bit of time to get acquired to this condition and braking. This man's on controller, I want to remind you as well, by the way. So if you see his wheel work, it's a bit chaotic. Yes. So here we have Regan Herbert, who was in P4. To the last corner complex, and just
too deep.
A bit too deep, and that's unfortunate. I'm not sure how the stewards will see that, but I'm sure they'll come to a decision.
Yeah, so that was Gallo in the Ferrari involved in that incident as well.
So that's how they got up so high, but they did well to avoid that. I know it's tricky, especially when you're kind of under brakes and you're looking to get back on the throttle and there's cars ahead and you haven't really been very aware, but they all did pretty well. Yeah, Benjamin, he is on controller. He's one of those CSL DD waiting simulator customers. So we'd be hoping to see everyone kind of getting into a bit of a better groove now as their tire pressures come to the perfect spot around the 30 psi mark, as Indra Hara is just hot lapping at the front there. But still, like, Sonikas isn't really that far behind either, so he's probably just trying to stay with him. Definitely wouldn't be forcing anything. Just trying to get as many points as he can from both races.
Yeah, these two are really putting a space in the rest of the field at the moment. Because Reynolds and Lamb 4 or 5 seconds behind, and then we start to get a train after that.
Pro-Am train. Look at that. Claus,
Good.
Raggy, McConnell racing from the Great Britain, somewhere there over there in the UK.
Yeah,
And
very
then-
easy to spot on timing sheets with that
Yep,
big thick
that
red
red
bar
bar.
next to his name for the pin.
Oh, as they just get a little bit squirrely around there. So, like, from my point of view, this is one of the most, like, you got to be on the ball tracks the whole time. There's not a lot of downtime, so adding water to that is just next level, I think. You have to be so on the ball and just preparing for possible oversteer, understeer, as we see our first penalty of the night. That is Neil Wood, car 58. Jump start. 10 seconds. Ouch.
Yeah, this Pro-Am train is it's a bit hard to deal with because it's when you're about third in the pack. If we're looking at McConnell here, it makes it a bit difficult to overtake because there's another car right ahead. And when you're up the front or when you're in the middle of the pack, it becomes so hard to shake. As we just seen Mercedes in the background go around, that was Siciliano, I believe. It's
Looks
just
like it.
given it a few too many beans on the exit and lost the car. But yeah, it just becomes very hard to find positions when you're in such a tight pack like this.
Definitely, and I think especially with a track like this, as we'll go to the replay first, as Paul Britt on the inside overtakes Villanueva. Oh,
Oh,
wow! Oh, that's
that's-
oh, that's a car park.
Sadness.
Oh my
sadness.
God! How fast was that
Oh.
McLaren going? That blue and green McLaren was going so fast under the yellow flags there. So that is where something that I think a lot of drivers and stewards and admin have picked up on this season is being cautious under yellow flags. Now, there was a green and black car back there that just did not seem to take too much caution.
yeah, so it's Gallo that got involved with that one as well. So a really, really tough race for Gallo for race one.
That car's flat. That car. There's 4 cars. There are 3 or 4 cars that are clearly not facing the right way. That is the time to take your foot off the accelerator. That's just some silly mistakes there. That's,
Yeah, absolutely. Sometimes the sim may not register that yellow flags have popped out just yet, but that was clear vision that something's gone wrong.
Yeah.
And trying the cannon run isn't the best way through because as we just saw, there was about 6 drivers that have had their race ruined just due to small, silly decisions by some of these drivers.
It's dangerous too. We saw last season our first reported injury, especially with something similar to that post race where cars were getting hit. So it's a pretty serious thing that I think maybe some people maybe just need to take on board from now. That they'll be really cautious. As Van Vliet in green is getting spicy up here. Who's going to be the last of the late breakers? Looks like it's going to be Van Vliet around the inside. It's a very tough part of the track to go too wide, and they go another lap.
Yeah, it's very hard to get the car pulled up there and then not extend those track limits as we just saw him do. Because you carry so much speed and there's not enough space to fit 2 cars in, so you either got to give the respect to the driver next to you or the other driver that's on the outside needs to kind of pull out and accept those track limits.
Yep. As we saw a car around, that was car 29 at turn 1. Probably just lost it on their own there, but are moving once again. Yeah, like, agreed that there probably may not have been yellow flags out yet because it didn't happen too far in front of them. But you would have the vision of
Yeah, it doesn't mean
seeing
you're
a lot of
driving with your
cars
eyes
on a
closed.
straight. Yeah.
Andy O'Hara is starting to run away with this one. He's now got a 2.6 second margin on Sneakers. So Sneakers is running by himself. I'm sure he won't be too happy about not being able to challenge for the win. At the same time, he'll be happy about having a bit of clear space around him and not being under pressure.
So you see a Porsche got a bit wide there and do Porsche things.
Yeah,
Oh,
still a tight
it's
one.
so hard to save that. And unfortunately, just got a bit of a boop. Yeah, you see,
Just a replay
yeah,
of
it is a replay from the front end, and I think that is a bit of a bruised and battered Porsche.
Yeah, so that was Gallo that we saw spearing off into the wall as a secondary car.
That was a too much yeet there from, I think that was Henderson, who's lost out about 4, maybe even 5 positions just from a bit too much yeet of that first chicane. As they go too wide, never really ends well for either driver there. That is Regan Herbert, who's probably going to get eaten up by Daniel O'Donnell, car 69, who is in pole position for the next race as we speak.
He's working really hard to keep that position. He ran a little bit deep coming through the chicane, kept it within track limits though, and managed to keep the car on track and keep his car ahead of Daniel O'Donnell here. But Daniel O'Donnell is not going to let this one go anytime soon. He's up 3 positions since the race start.
We see an example of maybe just, oh, is that a blue flag? Maybe? I think so. And just got a bit too yeety on the meaty curb there.
Just say yeety on the meaty.
Put that on the list of things that I didn't think I would say tonight. But yes,
I'm waiting for a boop on the snoot out of everyone now.
No, we don't want any more boops on the snoot tonight. 16 minutes left to go. I think this is our lone Honda for Split Blue, Michael Young, all the way from New Zealand, doing a fantastic job here in P9. See what kind of line he takes through here. Yeah, just as similar to me in the drying race last night. I think it's not worth bidding it there.
Yeah, it's extremely conservative coming through there, especially in a car like the Honda. How are some of these class drivers faring towards the back of the pack? Have they stayed out of trouble?
yeah, just having a look at them if I can get down to the bottom of the list. Yeah, we've got Nick Miller who had a bit of an off earlier in car 29. He's down in 34th, and we've got Lawson in 31st, and is it Nick Wood?
Neil Wood.
Neil
Wood, sorry, Neil.
That's half the game that we play here, is guessing people's first name.
Who's down in 24th with the 10-second penalty, so...
Yeah, so currently faring the best out of the class drivers, but obviously that penalty says that it probably wasn't the most honest race so far.
That was a jump start, I believe, so might have got a bit of confusion towards the back there coming through that last little complex in the wet. But, you know, rules are rules, so as Young is thinking about, looks like so much wheel work there. The rear end probably not liking it too high in these wet conditions.
This Nissan takes the same line as last. Yep, pretty much straight through. Thought it was a Bentley for a minute.
I think it bears pretty well around this track from memory.
The Bentley? Oh no, the Nissan. Yeah, the Nissan is one of the culprits. It's pretty yeety over those mateys.
Likes the old sausages.
That's the quote for tonight. Yeah, Cam, that's a good one. Bender and Fax is like Andrew O'Hara and Fastest Lap Night duos. Rip O'Hara. Why Rip O'Hara?
He's lost a position. He must have made a mistake. Sneakers has taken the lead.
So there will be a replay that we probably need to see. I can tell Mull's kicked himself over to his other computer to get that going. Brendan and Braden PS5s, that's another good duo.
Goodness gracious me. When will I live this down?
Mate.
A while yet.
Sorry.
Can't a man sell fake PS5s in peace?
As Thomas Riley, one of our debutant commentators from last night, has a 5-second penalty for a collision on that too. So maybe just a minor boop from maybe
Snoop.
just boop on the boot, and here they come. Ferguson for a rejoin on lap 3.
Here's what happened to Andy O'Hara.
Oh no!
Oh no.
That is lap traffic, and oh well. Never mind. Oh, on the
There we
straight.
go. He's just lost so much momentum because of that, and Sneakers has had all the momentum in the world and just thought,
That's
thank you
unfortunate.
very much, I'll take that. But now Sneakers is going to be under pressure for the last 13 minutes of this race, plus 1 lap. And the one person you don't want to be under pressure by is Andy O'Hara.
Yeah, I dare say JP would have rather being in the other position, just being in P2 and just doing his own race. But no, never mind. He's got an angry red Ferrari on his rear bumper. This is still a good little battle here between Young and Piper. It's still a bit of a gaggle, in fairness. Like Van Villay in front, Herbert not too far behind, as Young almost goes straight into the boot of the Nissan and loses out 1 and maybe even a second coming up to the first turn here. O'Donnell going to try and make it work around the outside.
The top end of that Honda is just a bit more powerful than that Porsche. Looks like Young's got the grippy side. We see O'Donnell run a little bit wide. Just had no grip on the outside out in that water there. Tried to make it work. It was almost a big brain play by Young, because that would have put him on the front row for the reverse grid.
Yep, but I mean, in the scheme of things, O'Donnell gave it a go, as I think most drivers would have, and didn't lose too much. So, on to live another day. As Moons, thank you for following.
So we're starting to see Kitching make up a couple of positions. He's gotten his way past Van Vliet and is now on the hunt for Green at the moment. So Green's going to have his work cut out for him with that bright green Lamborghini of Kitching. There we go. He's driving real hard. He's driving that Porsche very hard. You see him get a little bit sideways coming through the chicane. He collects the car, keeps it going, carries the momentum. Still gets a good exit coming into the 3rd sector. But that's going to be nothing but incentive for Kitching as he gets right onto the rear of that Porsche. He's just going to bide his time and find the best spot to be able to make this move happen. I dare say maybe turn 1, turn 2 might be the goal for Kitching here if he can keep the car close enough.
I think they're 2 quite evenly matched cars around this track, the Lamborghini and Porsche. So I think, if anything, if I was whoever's racing behind, I'd be hoping this spices up a little bit and maybe get 2-for-1 deal here.
O'Hara's closed the gap even further now to Sneakers, pulled in another half a second. So we're going to be seeing some action there soon.
Yeah, there's just too many battles on track to follow here.
There is.
We got the little bottom right window of O'Hara on the chase of Seneca, so if you want to get updates on how that battle's looking, you can just dart your eyes down there. But at the moment, Kitching is having a look, showing the nose, putting on a whole lot of pressure to Green.
Oh.
As we see, Van Vliet just loses in the chicane. Not too sure if there was contact there or not, or if he lost it all on his own.
Yes.
Being that notorious chicane, it's very possible that it's happened all on his own.
That's the second Porsche death we've seen there this race, as Kitching is right on the muffler of Ryan Green. I dare say that dual shock, he's probably under a lot of stress right now, as he's thinking about it. See, with these wet conditions, I don't know, I'm no scientist or engineer, but are you trying to stay off the rub it in part of the track, or is it not so detrimental in this? I don't know the science.
I don't know. I'm sure there's smarter drivers in chat that will have the answer for us.
Probably asked this question before.
It sounds like you'd want to stay off the rubber because it would get a little bit more slippery, wouldn't it?
But maybe that's only with the initial, like, greasy time. Maybe it's all right when it's wet. I don't know. But I just thought of that because last lap, Green and Kitching were like very shallow into turn 2, and it looked like they were, but maybe they were just defending hard.
So with all this battling up ahead between Green and Kitching, Piper has entered the equation.
Yep.
Very closely followed by Herbert. So it's
So
gone from 2-horse race to a 4-horse race. That's what we like to see.
Van Belay has popped out in the ultimate position of P12 as Herbert is absolutely zoning in on the rear of that Nissan that just understeers a little bit in the conditions there, but that gap is absolutely minimal. It's such a technical track, this, especially the second sector here, so it's great fun to watch and to hot laps. Probably one of my favorite tracks to hot lap. As Herbert absolutely Sandiana Jones up the inside there. Might get a little bit of a switchback from Piper, but no, just tucks in and go another lap.
Yeah, he kind of placed the car on the exit of that corner and just took up the real estate of the track, and doesn't matter what kind of momentum Piper had, he wasn't able to capitalise on it because there was a big Bentley in the way.
I dare say there was probably a bit of just looking after your car there from Piper. Saw the send and just thought better of it. I did say Sandiana Jones. That is correct. That's a classic.
You think these up beforehand, or are they just sort of rolling off the tongue?
Nah, that's just my, I don't know. I'm like a hoarder of stupid things in my brain. So if there's any more random lines come out, you'll know. It's part and parcel of being on the internet for the past 2 years.
They've just seen Britt pick up 15-second time penalty. For a bit of a nasty collision earlier on in the race.
Now it's Van Belay, Bryce. I don't know what you heard, but as we see a replay of this Raggy coming up towards turn 2. Oh, tries to sneak his nose, but just, that is a boop on the snoot if I've ever seen it.
There
Got
it is.
a bit too eager there and just caught the rear bumper of that Bentley, I think, was it? Oh, as Ferguson gets a stop-go 10, I dare say that was for the collision that we talked about earlier. As Kitching is looking to make a move around the outside of Green. This is a two-man tango for this to work. If anything, Regan Herbert, he's might get one here as he gets blocked quite aggressively. And he's going to get squeezed over to the right again by Kitching, but he's got a lot of work to do to keep Herbert behind him. If anything, maybe Green getting a bit of air or room to breathe for the second lap as Herbert absolutely sends up the inside. I hope that position will be redressed because that was a bit of a hip and shoulder. And he's going to lose out 2 positions from that, and he's going to go on the grass. So that's it's maybe a bit unfortunate. Hopefully we see some sportsmanship, or maybe the stewards will get onto that quite soon. But yes, Philippa and Jake, there was a bit of an unfortunate incident with a back marker, and he got caught out a little bit and lost that spot as Siciliano making a move on Stimson into turn 2 here. This is a bit of a battle pack as well. This is where Raggy has popped himself back out in.
Yeah, Siciliano had a pretty devastating start to the race, so he's had an excellent recovery drive since then. Neil Wood as well, also running a couple of positions in the meantime, up to P21. Raggy sends it up on the inside into the chicane, and he makes it work. Both cars get through cleanly, no track limits there, so great respect by both drivers. Raggy makes it work on the way through.
As Spenceley also gets the position of, I don't even know who that Aston was, but Van Belay is in the prime seat for the next race. There's been a lot of movers and shakers this race. Scott Blair, I think from starting P18 on the grid, is doing a fantastic job here in P11. Doing great defensive driving there into turn 1, as Sneakus has an probably angry man behind the wheel of a red Ferrari behind him right now.
Yeah, this is proving to be a bit of an uphill battle for O'Hara. It seems like he's getting nice and close to Sneakus, but not exactly in an ideal overtaking spot. So Sneakers just needs to keep that Bentley as wide as he can and keep it consistent. He may be able to hold O'Hara off here.
He's been doing a good job of making that Bentley really wide, wider than it already is. The gap's been bouncing backwards and forwards between 0.2 of a second and 1 second the last 5 or 10 laps.
But like, great job also from Sneakers. Like,
Absolutely.
doing great stuff so far. Still has 3.5 minutes, but he's always known where to put a car. So absolutely no slouch in the slightest.
Yeah, so we've got other battles forming even just behind. Lamb is only 4/10 out from Reynolds at the moment. Reynolds now has his work cut out for him. So we're just watching a replay of the pitching attempt of the overtake on Green. Oh, sorry, this may have been a little bit earlier. Oh, there we are. So that's Van Vliet just taking a little bit too much curb and dying.
I think that's the one we saw in the background a bit earlier.
Yeah.
So he is currently a second in front of Scott Blair. This gap, I think, is just closing ever so slightly, maybe. I can't tell.
Yeah, it really does look like the Bentley is getting the traction in those crucial corner exits where it leads into those long straights. It's just able to clear a gap that's big enough to make Andy feel a little uncomfortable. But if we look down there bottom right, Andy is trying to find a way around. He's very close. Just pointing the nose out to Sneakers.
Oh,
we'll go to live pictures.
Jesus.
Herbert right on the back of Green. Green is
Oh.
doing so well to hold them off because we have a little bit of sadness between Kitching and O'Donnell. Gets into the rear of him. Kitching has been spun around. Does really well to get that car off the track and out of the way as traffic starts to come through.
Really awkward part of the track, but should... Yeah, perfect way to rejoin. Wait for traffic to go by and find a gap. That was just a bit, maybe just a bit too much momentum there from the car behind and just got into the rear bumper of, I think that was Kitching. So, yeah, these Porsches maybe not having the most fun in some of the slow speed, slippery curbs in Sector 2. But like, they're all mostly still there from P13 and up,
So if Andy O'Hara wants to make this happen, he's going to want to make it happen pretty soon because we are on the penultimate lap of the race. There's going to be one more after this one. So if any drivers want to make more positions, now's the time to do it. Lamb as well, looking at those deltas, he's crunched that gap down. It's only down to 2/10 now. So we got to live pictures with Green, who has lost a position to Herbert.
Yep.
So down to P6, still not too bad. P1 in class for Pro-Am.
But I think...
under 5 from Piper. Sorry, go on, Pat.
No, that's alright. I think if I know one thing about Andrew O'Hara, he is not a driver to force any moves. As Green just goes very deep there, just slightly missing his braking point, probably just working in his mirrors a little bit too much there. But yeah, Andy will just drive behind you all day and all night. I remember from all of my practice rookie races with him just on your bumper, he does not send it. There's no send to that man's body. As compared to Henderson there in the background, we see he goes just a little bit deep, and O'Donnell says, "Thank you very much." That is an absolute huge boop. That was a Lance Stroll moment.
Yeah, Pat. There's a lot of action going on at the moment. We've seen Green pick up a drive through.
Slow down.
As he ran past that chicane. So Green's race has gone from pretty good to just okay to really bad. So he's up to P6, but that drive through is going to pop him down the field quite a bit. He won't be able to serve the drive-through being the last lap, so I dare say that will get converted to some kind of penalty under steward's discretion.
You sold those two cars around. All those cars passing that Nissan were going full beans. As he just gets a little bit loose there. So I dare say that... I'm not going to say anything.
He's got one more chance to do this. He doesn't look like he's close enough to be able to make it happen. As you said, he doesn't seem like the kind of driver that will just send it up on the inside for the sake of it. I think he's happy just to sit here. He's had a respectful battle with Sneakers here, and Sneakers has taken this one on merit. So P1 goes to Sneakers in the Bentley, very closely followed by O'Hara. A few seconds down the road as we wait for him to round the last corner, we have Reynolds, who's very closely followed by Lamb in the McLaren, who also wasn't able to get the job done. Not a bad race by him, though. I think he started around P8. So Lamb has found some positions over the race, taking out P4. And then the gaggle starts to round the last couple of corners. Regan Herbert had a lot of action, but now he is all by himself. You wouldn't be able to tell that he had so much action on that race. So Regan Herbert, P5. As we see some drivers that did see some sadness that race. Henderson, Van Vliet, Green, all in the Porsche. Taking out P6, P7, Green taking out P8 on track. Not too sure. That drive there has been converted to a 30-second penalty, so that will send him very far down the field.
Oof.
Followed by Blair, Spidey, Young, and Harding. Kitching, despite the sadness that he had late in the race, P13, and with that 30-second penalty over Green's head, Kitching is going to inherit the top spot on the reverse grid race.
What was going on there, going over the checkered flag, but yeah, it's that is a spicy way to finish the race. Don't know what's happening here either.
That's a very damaged Ferrari just getting out the way. That's a very damaged Porsche as well.
Yep, that was. Oh, this was on the straight.
There we go. I think
whoa.
That may be a replay. There we go.
I saw that car in the air that was flying in front there. I don't know if that was just something weird going on in the replay, but the stewards, I don't envy them right now. I dare say they will be under the pump to get some of those penalties. Oh, as that's what Votler has to say about that.
Yeah, it's not often that stewards have the most work to do on the final lap, final corners of the race. Usually it's the first corners of the race.
What are you talking about?
They're just starting to spice it up a little bit.
There's so much to look at. Oh, what a car park. What an absolute car park. That's O'Donnell. So O'Donnell must have been stuck there for a very long time. He was part of that initial little accident. Oh no. Might be a bit of a paddling from the race director there.
Yeah, I'm really hoping that wasn't one of the notorious desperate sends that has just turned into a chain reaction just because it's the last lap. Just absolutely not necessary.
Well,
yeah, it's didn't exactly see where that all started from, but I don't think I want to be honest, because that was just an absolute mess.
But I think deep down you do want to.
Oh, I will in my own time.
I think from what I remember seeing there, it looked like when O'Donnell had that first incident, he was caught facing the wrong way, so when he had to rejoin. So I landed on the tighter side of the track too, on the left side after the hairpin. So he probably was in a bit of a tricky spot trying to rejoin, and there's a lot going on there, I reckon. But the stewards will do a great job as always, and they have a wet super quali. So any predictions, chatters, and my fellow commentators, on who we think will be putting on poll? What time do we think? We saw 34s, 33s, I think.
Yeah, I think it was a 33 4. Sorry, a 30. Was it a 33 or 32 4? I think it was a 32 4 that O'Hara had to stick it on pole. In terms of drivers that are going to be up there at the pointy end, I dare say Green might be up there. He had a lot of pace throughout that race and was able to fend off a lot of drivers for a long time, and obviously started up that top end. So that first qualifying was pretty good for him as well. So I think we will see Green up towards that pointy end, trying to have a little bit of redemption in race 2.
Yeah, it was a shame. He did have a very good race, and to lose it there at the end, you'll be very disappointed with that.
Yeah, it's a bit of a tough one, because not only did he pick up a track limit for it and the drive-through that got turned into a 30-second penalty, he lost a position on that. So it's not exactly like he gained time on that track extension. So yeah, not an ideal way for your race to be ruined, but I suppose at least he didn't. At least it was only his race that was ruined. There's worse ways that a race can be ruined, and that's
Definitely.
when you ignore yellows and ruin 5 other drivers' races as well. We did see in the in-game chat before, Malik typing in, please do not ignore yellow flags for
And
freedom's sake.
I think another
That's what
thing to
FFS
add
is
there, another thing to add will probably just be like try your best to keep an eye on like abnormality in front of you. Like if you see cars off the track and there aren't yellows, take care. Like
Yeah, see, once you get into a rhythm, it's very easy to spot an irregularity. Is that the word? I can't say
I
that
think
word. I don't know why I
irregularity,
tried.
abnormality.
Irregularity. It's you pick up an irregularity far out in an instant. So you should be able to react. You should be able to think, okay, something's gone wrong here. Where do I need to place the car? I'm going to be off throttle. I may even get on brakes because this is going to turn into something really bad very quickly if I don't react.
G'day, guys.
Irregularity.
Can you hear me?
Let's
Words are nice.
just make it not normal.
No, we got to sound
Irregularity.
smart, Glenn, with the big words. I said abnormality. He said irregularity.
Hey, gents.
I'm trying to sound smart. Evening, Mel.
G'day,
I
Tom.
can spell it.
Just wanted to go over a certain incident just then because I think I need to highlight the exact thing that we're trying to avoid here in OOR. I'll just cross over to this screen.
Here we go.
Spot the problems.
Oh, that's
Sends.
a-
Absolute send. There is no off throttle by multiple cars.
black
Look
and
how
red
long that
car.
goes on for. There is a lot of cars that can send.
That
for a
is
very long
easily
time. That's a
voidable.
straight line.
That's a straight. That
It's a
is a straight, and you don't have the awareness to see in front of you that there is a car. No, what is that? Is that That's not perpendicular, is it? It's perpendicular to the track. Take caution.
So the yellow flag's definitely out. It'll be on the screen, and there's 3-4 cars that just come barreling in with no regard for the cars ahead. Now, we're going to post-race most of this, and if we've deemed you to have not tried hard enough to avoid, you're going to get a massive ass penalty, because you just got to stop doing that.
Yep, fair call. It
Anyway,
also
that's my
seems
piece.
like-
Love you all.
Thanks, mate. It also seems like since we started putting emphasis on people ignoring yellow flags, it's only gotten worse.
You start to
Like,
highlight
what
it.
does it take to drill this into people's heads? Because you see, that was Siciliano that was stationary, perpendicular on the track there, facing sideways. He got hit by about 4 cars there. Now, I am lucky enough to be using a Logitech wheel, so I don't have that direct drive. If he's one of those drivers that has that direct drive wheel and that's spinning around and that's going crazy, that can actually cause physical injury to that person. It's not the first time that we've seen an injury due to someone crashing into another car unnecessarily that could have been avoided. We've had people that have had split chins. We've had people with like sprained wrists. It's just ridiculous. So ignored yellows is a lot more important than what some of these drivers are seeing it as.
It's such a basic rule too. It's not just an OOR rule. It's a motorsports rule. Yellow flag means slow down. There is something not right in front of you on the track. And I understand that in some situations they may not like come out fast enough, but as we mentioned, it's just a bit of intuition. It's watching what's in front of you, like you should be. As you're a motor racer, you should be watching what's in front of you and just being cautious. So
It's the most simple flag as well. Like yellow flag, excuse my French, but yellow flag, slow the fuck down. That's all there is to it.
sorry, Jan.
Anyway, back onto the business side of things. Bruno Gallo currently sitting in that top spot. He'll take P13 provisionally with that 133.2, very closely followed by Daniel O'Donnell, who's only 600ths behind.
As we see, I think that's Nick Miller there. The yellow Audi was just having a little party in the sand trap. Wait, you can hear Mull typing? I can't hear anyone typing. Or maybe that was just on Streamlabs. Didn't have your microphone muted in the stream, Mull? I dare say. Nah, it might have been through the stream. But, yeah. It's I think, yeah, as you said, it's kind of started to highlight those things. As Daniel O'Donnell, by 12 thousandths, goes P1.
Yeah, it's a great time to do it as well because track is currently damp and I feel like that may switch over to wet. So I think track conditions may be worsening as we go on, as Gallo takes a lot of curb and gets a little bit squirrely on the exit. That's not going to help the lap time, which is going to give Daniel O'Donnell a little bit of protection here. He is the main threat. Phillips has snuck himself up into that P3 spot, still within a tenth of that pole position. There is time to get another lap in.
So hopefully O'Donnell has he reckons he's put his best lap together, and with the conditions that are a bit varying. I think this damp time is the worst part of the track, worst part of the wet, because it's just slick, and especially with those big painted curbs, I think it doesn't make much sense. It doesn't make much sense to touch them, and that's where you lose all your lap time.
Nothing between the top three there. Phillips has just put in a 1:33.2.
75 thousandths.
Yep.
Wow.
And Raggy's having a better quali in this quali 2 period. It was well down the order in the first quali. P5 at the moment.
Yeah, I'm not sure how that would go, Diabols. I'm sorry, I'm just reading chat and he's saying, reading caution or saying caution. I think, I don't know, as a driver, it can get a bit like, I don't know, it freaks you out sometimes when people are talking when you don't think they should be talking. But I guess if race directors are comfortable with saying caution, but see, that's the thing. Maybe some of these things are happening before the yellows are coming out. And obviously the race directors and stewards can't see everything at a time, so
Yeah, and you can't exactly expect the driver to jump on the mic and say caution, because they may be trying to collect the car. Yeah, I mean, you shouldn't collect the car, you should be holding brakes. They're probably trying to get the car in a position where they're not going to get collected by another 4 cars that are screaming through the straight.
I think it's more the cars that are following.
I think, yeah, once you start spinning, your first instinct isn't to jump on the mic and say caution everyone and point out where you are on circuit. I mean, it's a good thought, but I think it's a bit unrealistic to expect that of either drivers or race directors.
I can attest, the first thing that I want to say is definitely not caution when I spin and move the car.
We've just had a little bit of a
Gallo.
Yeah, so jumble of drivers in the top 3. So Gallo's reclaimed that top spot, and McLaws has taken P2 as well, so pushing O'Donnell down to P3. He may not have had enough fuel to go for another lap, old Daniel O'Donnell, but parks up in pits regardless, and he'll be starting from P15.
So interesting comments there. Yeah, so I think McLaws, Santa. McLaws will probably.
It's got to be Santa.
Santa McLaws. Well, he'll probably be very happy with that. The second row of the best of the rest there, definitely. I think that's a new name. I don't recognize that name. I didn't see many of the Thursday splits last season, but that's a great job, especially to be right in between a couple of pretty hot drivers at the time.
Can I get a little bit of a request from the man on the broadcast here? Last night we had livery of the week, and it was a bit of a joke because it was a livery that I hated the absolute most. Can we have a look at some of these liveries so I can choose livery of the week? The livery that I hate the most again.
So like Shacked and a Fool livery of the week?
Oh, I've copped a big no with a full stop. That's a bit passive aggressive.
Wow.
Nah, just aggressive. Forget the passive.
I'll spot it during the race. I'll keep my eyes peeled, don't you worry.
Glenn and I are going to be quiet, race director, and Braden's just going to talk about liveries for the whole 30
We're going to be
minutes.
very, very good boys.
The trick is to choose a nice base color that's easy on the eye, and then your accent, you want something that pops, but you don't want it to pop too much like a lime green, because that's just bloody disgusting. And a trim to complement the popping color or to complement the base color. You trim, you can have a bit of freedom with. That's the ideal livery. Also, no colored rims, because that's shit as well.
I was
It only works in
to
very small circumstances. It's either black or full white rims. That's all I'll accept. Maybe grey. Maybe grey on an off day.
What about like a dark bronze? I know Nikita likes to go with like a dark bronze color.
No.
I rate it.
Just because she knows how to drive doesn't mean she knows how to put together a livery.
Have you hated any of your liveries so far?
Any of Bokita's liveries?
Hmm.
Look, I haven't really paid much attention to them, which just goes to say they're obviously not too great.
You're not qualified for this bloody livery police role that you've taken up. Yeah, agreed, Murph. But you know, has the safety car livery changed, or we don't do customs anymore? I guess.
It may be there on this. Oh no, yep. We're missing out safety car livery, which is made by Dan Hunter, who's in chat at the moment. Made a very nice livery, and it's not being shown.
Actually, no. I think I remember the conversation about having the replay to watch in the race versus having the liveries on track. That was the issue. So now I remember that's why we have the yellow Jaguar. Hips just wants to put in that gif of John Cena going, "Are you sure about that?" Oh, that Porsche P2. I want to know what Brayton has to say about that.
Porsche and P2. Lime green is crap. The black and the pink is nice. I like the pink. That's a good pink. The green just ruins everything.
Coloured pink wheels too.
Nah, no thanks.
Depresso.
It's certainly a long list of do's and don'ts you've got there, Braden. You're going to have to put out a PDF or something for us all to follow.
Look, there's a lot of don'ts, but the criteria for do's is quite short.
Do good.
Like drive faster, yeah.
Yeah, well, we don't talk about that. That's Philippa and Andy's response. Just like Cameron's, please message the main Octane Online Racing account. Now, Glenn, would you like to take a race start?
No.
This is your debut. You get thrown in the deep end. That wasn't a yes or no.
No.
Glenn, I think you've got this. There's only one way to know. You don't have to do the whole lap. If you start to get a bit nervy, we can always jump in and help you out.
How about we give him a break this week? He's excellent with the analytics and finding those movers and shakers along the board. And I don't think you can get away with this one, Pat. I want to see you try and call this a wet reverse grid.
As well. So, it's not like I'll be missing out. But absolutely, I'm happy to take it away. This will be a spicy race too. We haven't seen that Jaguar in action under green flags yet, so let's see what Kitching, Harding, Young, Scanlon, Blair, Van Vliet, Henderson, Herbert, Lamb, and Reynolds have to offer. They have O'Hara and Sonicus right behind them, so it'll be absolutely amazing to see what they can do for this second reverse grid, which will go late because of the setup as we see that sweet transition, and we go green. Pretty even start all around the board. It looks like they're going to go too wide all the way back down. Oh, as someone gets a little bit squirrely there in the background, may have lost one or two. That is a McLaren going up the inside of Scott Blair as we are on board with Lachlan Henderson. Still a lot of too wide action. It'll be interesting to see where some of those faster drivers end up. It's a bit harder as they go almost 3 wide then. Andrew Hara almost getting left out in no man's land there into turn 4. As we come down into the bouncy chicken, we see a car in the wall all the way back down there. Not sure what happened there. Maybe as that is an absolute send of a black and red Ferrari. I think that's Bruno Gallo. As there's Anicus around, O'Donnell around. I dare say our little friend 667 might be pushing the starter, and they are moving. So 667, the safety car is out. Wowie, wow. Glenn, that would have been a good one. It was nice and short.
Yeah, I'm pleased it was you. I was checking on who didn't get out onto the grid to start the race. It was Wood in car 58. Was in the pits at the start. So he's missed all the fun.
Does that put him a lap down? Because do you get... Okay, here's a question. Are you a lap down if you don't do the formation lap, the full formation? if you start from the pits, are you a lap down?
I don't think so.
Okay.
No,
Never mind. Never mind.
no, because the
But,
race hasn't officially started, has it?
yeah, that's Pat asking my two brain cells working overtime there. But I dare say we will see a replay sometime soon. But survivors, O'Hara and Gallo, I think no, I think everyone else is pretty much in the same spot. Sneakers has lost out about 6, maybe
Yeah,
5
Sonekas
spots
was
from the
that
start.
Bentley that was pointing sideways coming through the chicane. Could see people obeying yellows. Unfortunately, it was in one of the slowest parts of the track, so they had no choice but
Oh, that's a
to obey the
dive.
yellows.
I think that's Gallo up the inside there, and it's just
Yeah, and that's
that
so that's O'Donnell that's gotten into the rear quarter panel of Sonekas and Raggy and the
he
black
got
and
a bit
green
of a
McLaren
push
that's
there, I think.
gotten a little bit involved as well.
Now, director, can we? There was a car in the fence after turn 3. Is there any chance we could have a look and see what was going on all the way back there?
Yeah, I think I can almost predict what's happened there. I think they may have just run a little bit wide coming through turn 2, and once you get into that grass, it's so hard to get the car back on unless he's just stamped on the brakes a little too
Oh,
hard coming to turn 3 and lost it. Yeah, there we go. He's run wide into the grass. It's so hard to get back on track there, especially with all that traffic.
oh, oh,
Made a
and
little bit of contact with Green there, but Green kept it alive, and yeah, Spencer was just straight on into the tyres.
team. Well, I guess this is maybe an upside of the safety car. See, I think that wasn't even Sneakers or O'Donnell. I think it was the move of the black and red Ferrari of Gallo into the chicane, which checked them up a little bit, and then it concertinaed the two drivers behind as the holy Audi. He
That's
did
Nick
well to
Miller.
pull it up. He did
Yeah,
well to pull.
really, really heads up driving by Nick Miller there. He's given up a lot of positions
Yeah,
to make that safe.
yeah.
So really
Took
well
to
done
the
to him.
grass. Yeah,
It's
Okay,
just another nod to our rookie series and to the guys who run that and getting these guys ready for these races because that's a man fresh out of rookie series and he's done exactly what he has been taught to do.
hold your brakes. So, as the safety car has pulled away into pit lane, Oliver Kitching is leading the pack once again. Harding right on the rear bumper of him. And our rules has control from now, so can go anywhere from now to the start-finish straight. Is he going to wait or is he going to go now? He's doing a bit of a Valtteri Bottas and he's away. Is he? No, he's not. He is. He's
No,
not.
not
He's
quite. There
now.
we go.
So that has absolutely bottled the rest of the field there. So there's some moves and shakers already, but he has done probably the right thing. It looks Herbert around the outside there of Lamb, I think, in the background. Yep. So this is Van Vliet and Scanlon. It's always a bit of a breath of fresh air. These safety car restarts being single file and having a bit more room to play with, as per se, usually. As O'Hara looks like right on the back of Reynolds in the background there, coming down towards the first bouncy chicken for the first time. As Gallo is also looking up the inside one more time with Piper on his reel. And that was Ryan Green having an absolute yeet of time over the chicane. Are we going to see him come over? Yes, we did, just in the background there.
So next in line for Gallo is going to be O'Hara, and I feel like both being in Ferraris, it's not really going to be an easy thing to pass O'Hara, so he may just have to lock onto the back of him and work with him to try and clear some of this field to maximise the points in his reverse grid race.
You'll be able to see firsthand what exactly Andrew O'Hara does in these reverse grid races. I think he just waits for his time. He doesn't try to force too much quite often and just tries to maximise points. Because at the end of the day, as we see a car around, that is Simon Scanlon.
That may be Lamb.
Yep.
Scanlon, there we go.
So, not the start to the race he wanted, but still 23 minutes to go. So, I hope that wasn't assisted, but we have seen a few incidents there tonight already.
Yeah, as you were saying, O'Hara, a very patient driver, especially in these conditions. His racecraft is extremely good. I don't remember the last time I saw the man pick up a penalty for anything. Given a lot of the time he is very clear up at the front, so it's hard to pick up a penalty when there's no one around. But yeah, but his racecraft is still there. If you're a driver that tends to pick up penalties and get involved in things, you're not sure if it's your fault. It probably is, for the record. And you just want to see how it's actually done by some of these guys that do have phenomenal racecraft. Ask Andy for a demo. I'm sure he'll give you one that will educate you, and yeah, just go through it. Find the key moments where he has respect, where he bides his time, where he pulls out of situations and decides not
Yep.
to go for sends. Very respectful driver.
Both, I think Scanlon and Herbert missed their brakes a little bit into the braking zone there, but Herbert will be the unlucky bearer of bad news. As I think that's was that Raggy?
Raggy, that was Raggy taking a send up on the inside, going 3 wide.
Struck by the race director tonight, honestly. I mean, producer. So I don't know what happened there, but looked like he was holding a bit of damage. So interesting to see where he can get up to in this second race.
So currently, fastest man on track is Michael Young in that Honda, leader of the Pro-Ams at the moment. 1.6 seconds clear of the leader, Oliver Kitching. And he has Henderson for company 9/10 behind. He'll want to keep that gap as large as he possibly can. But Henderson is no slouch.
As there we see 15 seconds for Herbert. Yep, that little boop on the snoot into the last corner complex 2 laps ago. As O'Hara is going to hold his ground on the outside here. Gets a little bit in the grass just for fun probably. As the McLaren in the background almost gets in the back of that Ferrari by the looks of it. But they are all facing the right way once again. As they come down to what I think is probably one of the trickier braking zones, especially in these conditions, as you are praying that your car is facing the right way and has the right direction of aero, and just trying to slow down before you get into these slick little painted areas of the track.
Oh, O'Hara just takes a little bit too much of that inside curb and gets a little bit squiggly. He does save the car there and carries on. But yeah, you're right. That braking zone into that chicane is very tricky. Usually when I start to acclimatise to a track, I'll use the rubbered in parts of the track as a braking zone. That one you cannot use, and you'll find out very quickly that once that rubber starts, you're braking too late.
Isla Harding, a name that we haven't seen maybe too much of yet, but are we seeing a lot of now, is in a decent battle here with Van Vleet and Scott Blair, who's moved up into P4. He has a lot of fast drivers to deal with here in this little battle pack they've got going on with Reynolds, O'Hara, Gallo, quick in tail there, as Phillips, car 87, gets a 10-second penalty for jumping the start. That is the second one we have seen of those tonight, I believe.
We've also got Nick Miller, who's obviously suffered a little bit of sadness. He's just jumped into pit lane, so he's probably carrying a little bit of damage. There's a fair bit of distance between him and the field, so possible that he may have made the mistake on his own. He's in the Audi, and Audi teams tend to happen.
And to go back on what we were talking about earlier with Andy's racecraft, something I learnt from watching some replays, especially, is not using your brake pedal to its full potential all the time when you're chasing a car, because when you're right behind a car and you slam on full brakes, there's no more braking ability. So maybe that's just some food for thought there when you're chasing a car. It's maybe just 80-85% of brakes when you're braking behind the car, because once you're slammed, you have no more time to pull up. So
yeah, absolutely. Personally, I like the method of lifting off the throttle and just going completely off and coasting until you see the car in front with the brake lights light up, because usually you can judge the distance pretty well and get the car pulled up without having any contact. I'm obviously not the best with racecraft when it comes to people like Andy O'Hara, so yeah, I think it might be a better way to go about it.
Same idea, same concept. But yeah, you'll get to know how it all works the more you race. There's always lots of practice races, and even having like a coaching session with Cam, I found it very informative even myself, after last season's subpar performance in finals, the first thing I did, as Bruno Gallo looks down the inside of Andrew O'Hara, and thank the Lord there was no contact there, because it looked like he was definitely going to make an absolute fool.
Yeah, so Daniel O'Donnell's just picked up a 15-second time penalty. That would have been for the disaster that we saw at the chicane. As we just see McClaws collect Gallo through the chicane. Just taps that rear quarter panel and spins him right around. And now Gallo is going to have to fall very far down the field. Car facing the wrong way. Whips it around, just tries to find a clear space to get that car rejoined. There we go. He's dropped very far down the field.
Damn. Almost 15 more spots. But yeah, I think the thing that was awkward there is that you're already like stressing enough about putting the car in the right spot to not spin in the wet because of the conditions at the curb there, and then you add in another car that's trying to send it up the inside, and it's never going to work through there, and it's almost a possibility of ruining two people's races in one go. So Michael Young there, that is a very satisfying time of a 1:33.000 for our fastest lap so far.
Nothing more satisfying than setting a time that's dead even on the second. He is fastest man on track at the moment. It seems like Kitching might be just a little more consistent. He maybe a touch slower, but consistency pays off a lot more than setting one fast lap throughout the race. So Kitching doing very well at the moment.
There's a car around in front of the leaders. Looks like Young is keeping a nice consistent gap, just over 1 second to Kitching. So as you said, it'll be interesting to see if Young is going to give it the bee's knees or just be happy with the P2 and try to maximise the points that he can get out of a situation. As O'Hara has gotten in front of Herbert. I don't think we saw that. So probably a little bit of a error. But nonetheless, O'Hara on the charge.
It's really going to be hard for anyone to make progress in this train unless the person in front does make an error. You just got to be on your toes, ready for that to happen, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. The door needs to be wide open to be able to make a safe pass at the moment, especially when the overtaking parts of the circuit are going to be drenched in water. So you want to make sure you're going to get that car up into the corner whenever you make the decision to get that position made.
Yep, and something that's going to make it tricky is the conditions are lightening. As Van Vliet goes wide and we get a little bit of a Lance Stroll moment there in the background, he is going to lose out almost 4 positions with just a little bit of a slip up out of P3. But the conditions are still only damp and getting lighter, so maybe we're going to see, as he gets a little bit of assistance into the first chicane, it looked like. Are we going to see similar conditions to race 1 of Split Yellow, where it is that line is drying 15 minutes to go?
For their sake, I absolutely hope not, because it's an absolute challenge to drive in those conditions with the tyres roaring and being extremely hot. But for our sake, I hope it does dry out. Suffering your jocks.
Absolutely.
Why should they get it easy, hey guys, after you had to suffer it last night?
That's right.
Both my races were dry, so I can't complain. Yeah, all seem to this battle pack. It's going to come down to the conditions, as Young goes 4 tenths faster than his last fastest time, so he's only 3 tenths off the back of Kitching. So unless there was maybe a bit of a mistake or maybe not his best lap, as Lamb looking to make a move around the outside into turn 1. We haven't seen much success from this maneuver, but it gives you the best opportunity into the next 2-3 corners. Can he just keep enough alongside there? Doesn't, has a bit of a moment. Reynolds also checks up a little bit, and that has O'Hara right back on his rear bumper. Oof.
We've got Cameron Farmer in chat. Odd question, does anyone happen to know what monitor setup Andy uses? I have asked him this before. He's just on iPhone, mate.
I think he's on something, it's a single screen. He's just on single screen. Just one big boy, I think. Because all of his replays are the same size from when he was doing his walkthroughs in Team Mercedes, yeah, I think he's just on the one like 30-incher, something like that.
No, he's on iPhone.
Young is right. Moving on. Young is right on the back here, still kitching only a few seconds away as McClaws gets that 15-second penalty for that incident that you saw live not too long ago.
First name Shane for the record, not Santa.
Not Santa Claus, sad. I love Young's team name. I'm trying. It's good.
He was doing well. He's crunched that gap down to pitching by quite a bit. It was about 1.3 seconds just a few laps ago, but obviously being fastest man on track, he has found that consistency that is going to be necessary to get this race win. So it's down to 0.3 of margin now, chasing Kitching, and Kitching's going to be looking in that rearview mirror and thinking, how the hell is he doing this? And he's got his work cut out for him now, and the pressure will be on.
Actually, one of the better cars in the wet, from what I can understand, that Honda. Oh, as we see, that is Phillips again and Herbert come to blows. It'd be interesting to get a replay. I dare say Phillips might have been the bad
Instigator?
Yep, getting a bit. He'll get a paddling for that, I dare say, as he redressed it instantly. So probably still see a penalty, as there seems to be quite substantial damage. That Bentley of Herbert, but they've both lost out a lot of positions, and I think we saw Phillips teleport.
Just jump on a replay with Regan here, just sleeping it up on the inside of the Porsche Van Vliet. Van Vliet? I'm pretty sure it's Vliet.
I said Van Vliet. Van Vliet makes me sound fancier as Andy. Jesus.
Andy, he's working hard now. He's decided it's time to start making some positions. And there we go. There's a contact between the Mercedes of Phillips and the Bentley of Herbert.
Just two differing lines there, and I'm not sure who was facing what way, doing what, but our wonderful stewarding team will make the best decision possible. And just a note on that, anyone in chat who is part of the community and are looking to get amongst it, always looking for people to start to learn the stewarding process. So if you are interested, feel free to message the main Octane Online Racing account or our main man Cameron Farmer, and they will get you in and up to speed. Those were my first experiences in OOR. They were jumping in the Sprint Series because we didn't have rookies back in the day, but getting to know the rules and then some more members of the community.
Yeah, it's
in a good way.
It's an interesting thing to learn as well, and it becomes a lot more interesting when you're watching motorsport on TV like F1 or the supercars or a DTM, whatever you're interested in, and you see incidents unfold, and your brain clicks over to steward mode straight away, and you make your own decision. And it's a bit, what's the word I'm looking for? A bit glorifying, I suppose, when the stewards in real life rule it as the same way you've ruled it.
Oh no, that's O'Hara. He has been absolutely. That is the same spot that he had an really unfortunate incident in the first race, and he has. God, he's practiced spinning that car around, I reckon, because he's done that quite quick, and that is Herbert, so he's coming out in 17th or 16th position. He's having a absolute shocker with those little slow speed incidents there tonight.
Yeah, big F in chat for that one. That was Van Vliet and the Porsche that was involved in that one. Just looks like he ran a little bit wide and lit the rears up on the slippery part of the grass, and it just sent the car sideways, and unfortunately Andy O'Hara was in the way.
It's big sad. Yeah, I can't remember the last time that I saw Andy have a solid accident. The first race, he kind of avoided all of the contact and then slowly rejoined the track, but that is bin as we cut to a replay, and that is just it's very unfortunate. The Porsche's got a very light there, so they spun it up and just bounced off Andy, but he had nowhere really to go and just unfortunately skirted off into the exact same spot.
Just no time to react whatsoever.
Yeah, but look at this. I think if there's anything to, never mind. If there's anything to come from that, he spun that car around very quickly as we, yes, are in the third round of the super sprints here.
Yeah, you're right. Every time I try and flick the car around, I don't do a successful 180. I
No.
do a almost successful 270.
I understeer and then it whips it around and goes too far. As Young is
To the outside
closing.
wall, yeah.
Yeah. It never looks as slick as that did, that's for sure.
So yeah, we just jump on board with Young, and he's starting to size up Kitching now. He's sending Kitching into the race line that he doesn't want to be on, taking tight lines around round 2, as he has a look on the outside of turn 3. But that will compromise the momentum that Kitching can carry down this straight, and the Honda is going to have a lot more top end. As Young switches out to the outside and has a look. Not too sure if he's going to be able to get this one done, but he does get very close, and he's letting Kitching know that he's going to put on the pressure until he gets the move done. So 7.5 minutes left in this race, and I'm sure Kitching is sitting in that car thinking, why can't this be the end of the race? Because he may be able to hold him off for this lap, but I don't think he'll be able to hold him off much longer than that.
It's really a battle of who's in a good rhythm and who's been looking after their tyres, I think. If I have to say either of them have a... Oh, never mind. There's an absolute gaggle of cars here in the second chicane to sector 2. That is Ryan Green in the background there. Is he going to try and make some passes here on our race 1 winner?
Yeah, it's a bit hard for Green to make a move at the moment with so much traffic up ahead. That's Piper and Harding that's just up ahead. Sanikas slips it up on the inside and makes up a position as Piper runs wide in that Nissan. Sanikas makes up 2 positions in one corner, and there goes Green. Just cuts the track straight through the grass, and he gets 1 position out of that. He's not able to capitalise on the second.
He gave Harding a bit of help there. Oh no. I don't know what happens there, but jeez.
They've kind of reformed back into the positions that they were in at the start of that sector. There we go.
And Piper's been the biggest winner.
That was an interesting exchange. Sanikas holds on to that 1 gained position, but he wants to get Piper back. He knows Piper is susceptible to mistakes now that he's seen him run wide in the hairpin. So he's going to keep that pressure on, see if he can force another mistake out of him, gain that position, put himself up to P7 if he can make that. Green having a look on the outside of Harding here. Harding's got his work cut out for him. It's Porsche v Porsche. Green looks like he had a little bit of a better exit coming onto the back straight. He's going to take as much of that toe as possible, but he doesn't quite have the momentum to slip it up on the inside into the chicane. He just jumps through that second chicane, tries to carry as much speed as he can coming into this next one. The tricky braking zone, not enough space to slip a car up on the inside. It gets a little bit messy as you come through. So they've gone single file again. Sanikas has persevered and taken that position from Piper up ahead. So Sanikas going to try and run away with this one. As Green runs wide, gets into the grass, and he keeps the car. That was impressive, especially on a pad.
On control. That looks so silly. But he done an absolute amazing job, yeah.
I don't think I would have been able to do that on a wheel.
No, I broke my wrists if I tried that.
It's the 3rd lot of grass Green's hit in the last lap, and he saved it every time.
This was an interesting little turn of events here. I think Green gave Harding a little assist into the braking zone, and I'm going to say Sanikas was just protecting his car into this turn here. You see him you see him straighten out there and just let the Porsche miss him, and oof, there's a lot going on there as Dylan Tyquin picks up a 5-second penalty for causing a collision.
Yeah, it's probably for the best that Green fell back there, because he did make a position by cutting a part of the circuit. It may have been an unfair advantage that would have possibly had to get redressed. So yeah, it's kind of worked out that he did fall back there. Obviously, with contact, it's not the ideal way to do it. This battle still rages on between Young and Kitching. Young is not leaving Kitching alone. Kitching is still working very hard to keep him behind. He's doing a very good job to make that Lambo as wide as possible. Obviously, Young can carry a lot of speed down these straights, so Kitching must be capitalising on his exits really well to be able to keep him behind. As Young gets a beautiful exit out of the last corner, he may be able to have a look coming into these first few corners of the circuit. We have seen him give Kitching a bit of trouble on the previous lap, sending him on the inside line and just killing whatever momentum that he would hope to carry.
As we go again into this last corner complex with Green on the inside of Harding with, I don't even know what Bentley that is behind.
He's done it again.
Is that a lap traffic?
Green has just been tapped on the rear quarter panel. Usually that's pretty much the end of a Porsche, but he's the best on the pad. Best on the pad, and he's kept that car alive and he's taken that position convincingly. He's already got a little bit of a gap.
Oh, as they just close up and Green is gone, so if anything, Saberis is on an absolute charge here. Also, wow, words are hard. Already making a little bit of a gap to Harding, so maybe Harding was a little bit of a cork in the bottle there. Yeah, Pips, I agree. That's some hectic steering input, and he did an absolute great job of saving the car out of the wall there.
Yeah, despite all of the action that we've seen, Green has had a pretty decent race so far. I believe he started back in P15. He's up to P9 now. Slotted himself up into the top 10, sitting at P2 in class.
It's a bit of a gap formed there. Young's dropped back a second behind Kitching.
As that is Ashlyn Reynolds right on the back of Matthew Lamb, and with Scott Blair leading, so in a bit of a Lamborghini sandwich. Lamborghini sandwich.
Get it out. Get the joke out, mate. Was it worth it?
I think so. I laughed, so that's all that matters. As Sonicus takes the fastest lap of a 132.379, so I think that's about a second and a half out of whatever Young did. Nah, never mind. That's right. 3/10.
Yeah, Sonicus has had an excellent recovery drive here as well, being in that lap 1 incident, being sideways in the chicane, put himself back up into P7. He's done really well to get himself back up there.
Almost Lambs have a little bit of a moment there. Is Reynolds going to try and do around the outside here? Maybe just not on in these conditions. Go another lap.
It's such a daunting place to have someone trying to make an overtake on you, because it is a tricky braking zone, and you know if you brake too late, you're going to run off into that sand. So you just find your normal braking point. I'm going to brake there. And it's up to the other car to make the corner. If they make the corner and make the position, then good on them.
Yep.
Job well done. But if they don't, they're going to run off and basically punish themselves by going for a ballsy move like that.
Like the stuff that we have on screen right now, as Reynolds just gets a bit left out in the dust there, and Lamb is going to increase that gap. But as we saw last lap, the gap was huge, but now they are back to under a quarter of a second. So Young has got a tall order here to try and get this P1, I think possibly the first of the season, but this will be an exciting little battle to watch.
Is he going to risk? Is he going to risk it?
Oh, so there's a little bit of contact, maybe. No, you don't want to make a move after doing something like that, so play on, says the umpire.
Kitching's done really well to hold off this long into the race. I think it was about 8 minutes to go by the time Young had gotten onto the rear of him, so they have rounded quite a number of laps, and Kitching has been able to hold him off for every single one, despite having the odds stacked against him with the lap times that Young's been pulling, as he hasn't looked on the outside. He tries to go for a switchback. They're going to be side by side coming down the straight. That Honda straight line speed is going to help Young a lot here. See who's going to be best into the braking zone. So far, Kitching is going to have the inside line, but if Young can keep it stuck on the outside, may be able to make it work.
Oh. Unlucky. Great effort.
Yeah, good effort, and it was good job to Kitching to keep that car pointing in a straight line, picking up P1, very closely followed by Young, as we just saw. Henderson rounding the last corner, picking up P3 overall for the reverse grid. Scott Blair, he's had a pretty good night.
Absolutely fantastic. From qualifying P18 in the first race to having 2 top 10 results. I think that's fabulous. As McConnell and Harding round out the top 12. Oh,
Whoa.
oh.
Whoa. Whoa. There he
Oh
goes.
my. What on God's green earth did we just witness?
That was fantastic.
That is a magic Porsche. It's the magic Porsche.
The Magic School Bus song.
It is.
There we go. I think you needed someone to pick up on that, because if
I
no one
think they
picked up
would
on
have got
that.
it. I think chat would have got it.
Such an education people get by coming and listening to this commentary.
Proud of culture. And Thomas Riley, another debutant in the comms box this week, rounds out the grid. And something funky is going on because one of the cars in the pits hasn't crossed the checkered line. So he pulls it up nice and early there. And that was a much cleaner race too.
Yeah, much better. I've got to say, their race starts through Sector 1 have been brilliant, but it's just the rest of the race that turned into a little bit of a disaster.
Yep, definitely. As we see, wow, that's a concoction, isn't it? Is that a portion of Jaguar? It is. It's got one of them.
That's a nice livery, by the way. That red and that yellow going together. So that Jaguar, splendid.
McDonald's Jaguar.
Jaguars.
The Porsche you are.
Or Porsche you are. Whatever your combination. But yes, that's so in our first race we had Sneakus. I'm just gonna go off the top of my head as the producer takes us to leaderboard. Yep. First race we had Sneakus, O'Hara, and Reynolds taking out Pro, followed by Van Villay, Scanlon, and Young with Pro-Am. In Am, we had Wood, Lawson, and Miller all getting podiums. Fabulous job from them tonight. And in race 2, we had Kitching, Young, Henderson, followed by Young, Green, and McConnell in Pro-Am, from what I could see.
And chat has chimed in and told us that Harding's net died, and that was why we saw car 290 going a bit berserk there at the end.
That does make a little bit more sense.
Well, convenient timing. You'd want it to happen at the end of the race as you cross the line, and at no other point would you want it to happen in the race at all.
It is awfully dry here towards the southern end of this qualifying session. But with that, I would love to thank Braden Ross and Glenn Germain for joining me in the comms box for AP Split Blue tonight. Great job.
Mate, it's always a pleasure.
Thanks, Pat.
I appreciate you guys' company, and I wish you a jolly rest of your week.
No worries. Enjoy the rest of the night, guys.
As we welcome in one of my 2 co-commentators for tonight, Thomas Riley.
G'day, Pat. How's it going?
Pretty good from this side of the box, mate. Give us a quick little rundown of your evening's proceedings.
Look, it's look, I haven't really had a chance to debrief and to think about it. I think I should say up front that probably the follow-on accident on the last lap of race 1 was probably my fault. I got a bad exit out of the hairpin, was squirrely all over the place, and trying to stay more than 5 seconds ahead of Bugden behind me, and was looking down at my split times and didn't see the accident until it was too late.
Understandable, mate. These things happen, but as long as we can turn it into a learning experience, we're all right. We'll go on to next week. But I should quickly mention that we are almost finished qualifying here, and Corey Sweet is having an absolute blast. 4 tenths in front as he starts his final flying lap. Oh, never mind. Kirsten, take that, Corey. But yes, this is split red for Asia Pacific. They are all on their last of probably 5 or 6 flying laps. No, that's not right. 4 or 5. As semi-tones.
Yeah, 3 to 4. I think it's 3 to 4 from what I managed to get out in wet qualifying. dry, even just a dry session at some stage.
How much practice did you do after seeing the wet races last time?
Probably a tenth of the amount of time that I spent in dry. Which,
Yeah.
it's probably less than an hour.
But that's at least some, probably more than others. As
True.
we welcome Neil Alexander into the chat. Welcome, Neil Alexander. Never seen you around here, mate. Welcome in. I didn't curse him. I was just talking about what was happening, okay? As Samwise Holmes finds a tenth and a bit out of that last turn, where's this going to put him? Probably in P2, I dare say, as we get a little bit of a lag. And he does. He takes P2. Well done. As we are joined by Split Blues Race 1 winner, Jean-Pierre Sinokis. Sinokis. Nice, Pat. Sonicus.
Yeah, Sonicus as well. Good evening, guys. Thank you very much. Yeah,
Mate,
it was good fun.
an interesting evening, that to say the least.
Yeah, I'd say that's one way to put it. I mean, successful race 1. Unlucky for Andy getting caught up with a back marker spinning, but yeah, you gotta take what you're given, I guess.
Definitely did a great job of keeping him behind you for the amount of time that you did. So, got to definitely give yourself some pats on the back.
Yeah, for sure. I think I lost about 4 kilos just in sweat. But no, it was good fun. The wet race was not appreciated, but actually turned out fairly well, I guess. But yeah, it's one of my favorite tracks anyway, so always enjoy racing. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely can agree with that. And the conditions absolutely spice that up a butt ton. But we are seeing no precipitation in sight tonight. Wind watch is blowing the 105 kilometers. So, I don't think we are going to see much tonight, as both races are within about 4 hours of each other. But a few familiar faces in these top 9. Maybe I didn't see this last week, but have any of you guys seen this Andreas Uristira? I think I smashed that.
That sounded pretty good. Yeah, I can't recall having ever seen that name, to be honest.
So maybe new, maybe a
Possibly.
debutant.
We have
Any
another
more
debutant
debutants?
in Zach Martin in P16 in a boat.
Oh yes, our only silver class, as Mull's probably going to be kicking himself with the entry list there.
I think there was an issue with his entry list, so he only got added to the server about 20 minutes before the race started. So yeah,
Well,
I think that'll be sorted next week probably.
well, for getting added that late, I dare say that's a pretty good result, leading the amateur group of I don't know how many, maybe like 5, 6, who knows. But
Considering I think he only did 2 rounds of rookies as well. So yeah, making the step up quickly and taking to it like a duck to water, I would say.
the winner of silver class tonight. Well done. Already taken it out without the restarting. Okay, debutants tonight: Martin, Udistira, and Rizkio. There you go. So
I remember Riskio was in the very, very, very ugly Aston Martin at Kailani
Wow.
9 hour.
Shots fired.
I mean, if you see a photo of it, you'll immediately agree it was haunting. I haven't slept since then.
I'm sure Braden will tell us more about it because he has inherited the role of the livery police.
But it's not quite the Bendik levels of ugly, but it's up there. It's pushing Bendik to the limits, I would say.
Yeah, Ryan, absolutely fun to watch from this side of the box tonight, but unfortunate couple of incidents, but great job there. That one save on the back straight there in the grass was hilarious to watch from cockpit with you on the controller. Oh, it was
Had arms
something
going
to see.
crazy.
Yeah, literally
think,
like left, right, and if that was on a wheel, you'd probably break your arms.
Yeah, I certainly think being on pad in the wet helped Greeny out there a little bit. Probably got some better results than if he was on a wheel, which apparently won't be too far away, but he's going to finish out the season on a pad, so I commend that by Greeny.
Have you guys done the standings yet for Split Red or not? Or can we do that quickly before they pull away?
Well, producer, if you've got the goods, if we could see a quick table, it's probably a bit too late, I dare say.
No, it's just well, Samwise Holmes leading, Ben Floyd in second, and Ricciuti in third in the pro class. Matthew Picnara, Hayden McLaren, and Charles Clark in the pro am, and then our very own Bender, Tom Sanderson, and Lachlan Harkin heading the am
Nice.
drivers. So yeah, there we go. Pretty close at the top as well.
Who would like to take it away?
I'll give it to Tom. I'm still catching my breath.
Take it again. All right.
Here you go, mate.
They're coming up to the line here. They're going to hold 80Ks. Corey Sweet on the pole. Wait for the green flags here.
Green light. Give it all you can.
And they're off and racing. And Corey Sweet's going to lead into the first corner. Lead into second as well. A bit of 2x2 further back.
Oh, is
The
this
car around, safety car's out.
Wow.
I think there might be there's a couple of cars around at turn 1.
They didn't
So
beat my record.
still a bit going on.
They did not beat my record, but that 667 is moving. Well,
At least 100 meters or so, so that's not too bad.
mine was only about
Triple
50.
figures.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see who got caught up in that.
Yep. As hamsters are working hard to get in the replay already. This is quite a big field. Is this the biggest field that we've had all week? I dare say it might be, because there's a lot of amateurs there.
We're looking at 40 cars, so I think it
Really?
might be the biggest field we'd have.
That's
we've
a
had.
great turnout for the last split of the week for Asia Pacific. This is a huge field. There's a lot of gaps there, so maybe the stewards might be looking at some jump starts, out of position starts, but cars looking for room and on the straight, so maybe not. They did beat my record of 12 bleeping meters. That was very ugly to see.
So
I would talk about being patient, but that would make me a liar.
People always talk about the dangers of turn 1, but what they leave out is the dangers of the straight line that you have to do to get there.
That's not ideal from that McLaren. Came barging into the turn 1 there. Oh, it just
Did
clips
that car
Boxy.
bounce off the wall? It looked
That
like
looked almost like a bit of netcode maybe, because he looked like he avoided him and then they just collected him and all hell broke loose. So not ideal there. But yeah, looks like the sort of top 15 or so, top 16 maybe, got through pretty clear. So they'll be happy with that, and hopefully there's not too much damage. See, there's one car pulling into the pit lane there, number 4 it looks like.
I love that team name, by the way, on Zachary James. His name is Upshift Creek. That's a rich
That's
name.
creative. That's
It's original. That's very good.
I love that.
And I think, Pat, you might say in the Honda here, that's not far off being true.
Yeah, well, I found it actually quite consistent with the setup that I was running, nonetheless. But I'm not sure. Michael Young did a great job in the first race there. Kept it nice and consistent for both races. Was right on the back of Oliver Kitching for the second race the whole time as well. But like all things considered, I think you can actually get quite a bit out of it. I'm not sure. Yeah, I don't know. It doesn't
I'm sure
have
it's quite as bad as what people are saying.
Yeah, like it doesn't have those straights where it usually demolishes on, but still.
The Honda seems very, I think it's very driving style dependent, to be honest. Because there's some people who can just go fast in it pretty much everywhere. Obviously, there's some tracks where it's a little bit down here and there, but I mean, Michael Young, he just freaking drives that thing like a rocket wherever he goes, and Madison as well.
Definitely.
So I don't think it's not a bad car. It's just quite difficult to get the most out of it, I think.
Yep. As 667 pulls away and Corey Sweet has control of the field, it looks like he might check them back up on the straight. No, he's away, and we are off for our second attempt at going green here for split red. Just one by one. I think, I don't know if that's a lot of yellow flags in the background there, or
No, I think that's still just a slow car.
there's a car in the pit lane, it looks like. That's stopped in the pit lane. But anyway. We may see a replay of that, but there's going to be a lot to look at these two races. The largest of the field we've seen so far this week, so I think that will probably be a loss of action, as I think Udistira has lost out of position already. Was he P4 or was he P3? I think he started P3. Anyway,
No, he's P4. That McLaren is in the wrong place.
Ah. Confusion. Thanks, producer, for the little wiggle of the camera there.
Same ways with the almost send into the second chicane, the wheel left chicane there, and it looked like
Bryce
Sweet got
Meadings.
all kinds of, Floyd got all kinds of happy tail there.
It's Bryce Meadings leading the field, as Udistira looks like a move on the
that's-
outside, gets squeezed.
A bit of a squeeze.
It's quite aggressive defending there by Samwise Holmes, who has lost 3 positions already off this restart, so not the start of the race that you want to see. As our leader lets some other cars by. I don't know what the safety car is doing there in the grass on the right side.
Maybe he's had a disconnect.
That is a very unfortunate disconnect, as Corey Sweet with a 28.9 to start us off. I dare say that'll get taken away, but has a pretty big gap to his best mate, Corey Floyd. Also another Lexi driver.
Corey Floyd. They're such good mates, they're sharing names now.
Yeah, Corey. Oh, well. Words are hard.
So John had a bit of a poor qualifying based on the pace that he had in practice, so he'll be looking to make up some spots at least. Teammate up ahead, and Kovacs Racing have a strong tradition of inter-team murders, so hopefully they avoid that this time.
Yeah, hopefully. Never like to see any incident, let alone inter-team things. I'm sure that makes the post-race debrief quite more spicy, as he just closes down that gap so tremendously. The car is so balanced through this second sector, as he just says, never mind, Pat, I'm going to go on the grass just to ruin what you're saying.
It's so balanced, I can drive on the grass. That's what he's implying.
Little battle pack back here.
Yeah, this is getting quite spicy. Oh, there's a little.
Oh, it just gives him a little tap.
No.
I think I just cursed Zach there, because I was about to say he's doing very well on debut, and then...
Zach, welcome to the team. You've been cursed.
Suppose it's a welcome to sprints moment. There. Unfortunate for him.
Yep.
Hopefully he hasn't got too much of a... If he's not too far back and he can just catch back up.
So these are our 2 AM class leaders of, I'm going to smash this, Norfolk Fires with, I think that's Tom, is that Tom Sanderson? Who's right on the back here in another Honda, so not doing too poorly around Zolder so far, as he has an absolute moment.
Richie there. Well handled. He's currently filling in a Merc sandwich.
Probably not the most ideal sandwich to be in around this track, as he has a little bit of a moment and just straight lines it.
That's one way of doing it. That should be a warning, you would think. But you don't. Luckily, it's only a 30-minute race, so 3 warnings is plenty of room to play with, fortunately.
It's actually an interesting combination of cars. So the Mercedes with what seems to be one of the worst front ends in the sim, and then the Honda, which also has probably the worst front aero in the sim. So interesting to see how they match up against each other, as Corey Sweet takes 7 more tenths out of his fastest lap. There's 127.963. That's a pretty decent race pace, if you ask me.
Yep, that's pretty rapid. Sonica's got past Bigfoot, it seems, so he'll be trying to chase down McLaren. And it seems to be quite spicy down by the AMs as well. A couple of cars close by, but apart from that, this seems to be the battle extraordinaire at the moment, so it'll be interesting to see. A bunch of very fast and very clean drivers here, so we should see some excellent racing.
As Bernie... Oh, you go, mate.
Yep, so Bernie Ronquillo gets 10-second penalty for jumping the start, but I was just going to say that Matt Pignata, or Pinata, I should say, is
Yep.
going to try and catch back up. Obviously, he had a great result with P4 on the weekend at Kyalami alongside his good mate, Gold, Zach James, running in 14th. So he'll be trying to just catch back up here, try and get back on the backside of Cutie and see if we can put some pressure on.
And
He is
also
a cutie, isn't he?
I can also confirm the pronunciation of that name is Pinata, despite popular belief. It is Pinata.
I thought it was Richuti, but I'm definitely going with Ricuti from now.
I think Rashuti is the right one, but I don't know. I haven't seen the man's face, but he sounds Italian. So, I mean, there's a big Italian flag there, Pat. So, good job.
Well, great powers of observation.
But no, as you said, there's a good amount of oh my god, diversity in class we are seeing towards what will turn out to be a really important part of the pack. Those 12 to 15 cars who, I don't know, will try their best to get into that reverse grid, because as this week's format, Super Sprint reverse top 12.
So apart from the lap 1 chaos, it's been pretty clean so far. Obviously the dry conditions make that a bit more likely to happen. But yeah, it's been fairly clean and competitive so far. Apart from, I mean, Ben Sweet and Corey Floyd up on front, just capping Udastura ever so slightly, but the mid-pack for the top 10 is quite a close little battle.
Yeah, I think it's just a product of those safety car single file restarts. I think it evens out the grid a little bit more. It gives you less of stress being out of line and knowing where to brake and race, so can give you a bit more fresh air to breathe, and usually brings a lot more great racing, as we see a drive-through for Andreas Wolf for causing a collision on lap 1, so I dare say that may have been what caused the safety car.
Assuming that will be the McLaren.
He's currently running in 24. So that's unfortunate that he'll have to take a tour of the pit lane.
It's actually quite a long, despite what it looks like, the pit lane is actually quite long, especially with that awkward little, really tight exit, as we see Brianata get a 10-second, I think that was 10 seconds, and Bilko copying a 10-second penalty for collision on lap 1.
Yeah, the pit entry here for me is even worse than the pit exit. It's so tight, and my very first attempt ended with my car as a bushman drawing on the wall, so it takes a bit of getting used to getting in there quickly.
Especially in traffic, so it's even slower having to wait for those cars to make the corner. And then as we see Corey Floyd go a 1:27 point something, I'm too slow to see it, but Samwise home got a bit of a recovery drive here after losing a few early spots, but has Callum Gibbons, who is absolutely no slouch, followed by Sim Rashuti closely, just trying to take that spot. It's quite spicy in the middle of this top 6.
If last season taught us anything about Samwise, is that his car is about double the standard width of whatever the manufacturer made it. So he's not an easy lad to get past.
Definitely not. He loves his Audi. As Callum Gibbons looks like he's fed up and is going to send it around the outside. Who is going to be the last of the late breakers? It's going to be Callum.
Kiddo gets it done.
Nice work. But might not be over just yet. Samwise is going to try and stick it up the inside. He looks like he had a bit of Audi things there, and he's almost going to put Rashuti in the wall, but saves it. Well done there. And Pinata in the background is probably loving this. He's doing some little Mr. Burns, like, yes, and thinking some stuff's going to happen. Yeah. and maybe hoping for a bit of drama to get him in the action.
So it'll be
As
interesting to see if Gibbo has the pace to get away from this battle and chase down Yudhishthira.
definitely, I think
As Zach says, Sam wide is
I
the
think
correct.
he must have damage or something, or I'm not sure because you see that the gaps in front seem to be extending quite quickly. So he's doing a lot of defending and a lot of wheel work. I think maybe there might be an issue with setup, or has had some pressure loss early on. Not
Or it's
sure.
an Audi.
Yeah, but it's been alright around here, I thought. Maybe I'm wrong. I've been wrong before.
I mean, having driven the Audi at Kyalami, it's fast, but it is quite twitchy, and I think it suits Kyalami well. But this track being a little bit more bumpy and a little bit tighter, I can see it being quick, but I can see it being a handful as well. But Samwise is a master of the Audi, so Sonicus has closed up right to the back of this, so the battle should start getting a bit more spicy.
Certainly
Yeah,
think over that little hump. Oh, we've got cars
We've got four cars
around
around.
here on the straight.
On the straight.
Oh, there's quite a bit going on here.
Scenes. Absolute scenes. There is a lot. We are going to have to dive into the replay soon, but oof, that was another
quite a
one of
bit of
those
depth.
flicks. It's one of those 360 flicks that we saw Andrew O'Hara do in that last race. Oof. You hate to see it.
Going to say, I think before we got interrupted by that carnage, the straight between turn 4 and turn 5, that I think the Audi, from my experience, the Audi does have a little bit of an interesting moment. You got to predict it. Is he coming up over the little rise, heading up towards the hairpin? A little hump on the apex there of the kink, and that's that can sometimes send you around. But as you said, Samwise is a very, very good driver of the Audi. He's campaigned it for a long time.
Interesting penalty, that 10 seconds for being out of position. So that's where we saw those interesting gaps towards the back there. Might be a bit different in with the larger field coming through the last sector, but also another penalty for an infraction on lap 2. So as Rashuda gets right on the back of Samwise here, who has been gapped also by Gibbons. As we cut back to the replay, these look like two teammates here from Kovacs. And, oh, that's an absolute tank slapper from Pete Viney there, who has just leaked right back on the track. He's done nothing wrong, foot on the brake, and he's turned into a Beyblade. He's done absolutely nothing wrong there, and unfortunately, that has just cascaded down the straight as this Lamborghini is just foot flat. Absolutely no worries in the world there, and that is what we talked about for Split Blue tonight. It's having a bit more caution. That yellow isn't out for nothing. Oh my god!
My goodness.
Jeez, that is a brown
Okay.
flag. The stewards don't have that flag, but yeah, there's a lot of basic stuff happening there. There's through all
That was
caution
a
to the wind.
big old sadness. Oh,
Oh, there's absolutely nothing that driver could have done there. And I think Viney did the right thing, held his brake. Unfortunately, the wall angles back in there, so it's bounced his car right back out onto track, and oh, that's a lot of damage.
I think there was most people there were actually holding their brakes, the initial people involved, but there was a couple of people who saw a yellow flag and thought, I don't mind.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine if that Audi was in VR, having a rear quarter of a Ferrari midair, trying to go for your head, hoping that your roll cage works. Yeah.
So, after the sadness is gone, Richuti is still all over the rear end of that Audi of Samwise. And, I think Ignara is just sort of holding off, hoping for something to happen that he can just pick up the scraps. It's not an easy track to overtake on, so it's easier to force a mistake or or hope somebody makes a boo-boo.
No, I definitely agree there. It's a bit of a race of attrition, I think. Trying to keep yourself alive and also trying to maximize points. As we see a lot of in the second race. It's just not trying to force too many moves, because at the end of the day, with a track like this, you really got to make sure you're going to make the move.
Good run here.
As we see here,
Such a hard place to do the outside overtake as well.
cameraman is on the
Lance
piss.
Stroll. Sequenced as well from the fender.
Yeah, so usually got to be a bit of a two-man dance to get moves done around here, and got to make sure you're going to make the corner, but a lot of passing opportunities, as we know. As we see Michael Pickford, who recently rejoined the Sprint Series this season after taking a season off, I believe. So good to see him back out there. Has OGold, who one of our top drivers from the Kyalami 9 Hour, absolutely putting VTech. I don't know where I was going with that comment, but P4 in class, 2 positions out of that top 12, so he sees Kieran Johnson in front, who has that position, so hoping something can happen in this last 9.5 minutes. Okay.
Shout out to Sandizi as well, running in 17, leading the M class. And Rizkio on debut, running in P19. So he may not make pretty cars, but he knows how to drive them.
Yeah.
So there's not a whole lot. I'll try again.
Yes.
I'll try that again. I'd say there's not a whole lot wrong with that McLaren livery, although it is one we see a little bit often at Gulf livery.
Yeah, definitely. It's does get overdone, but as I think that OGold went a little bit deep there, but prosciuti. Moritz is telling me how to pronounce it in chat. He said the Italian pronunciation would be ricciuti. Ricciuti. Anyway, I'm not Italian, so my job is to butcher the names. But yeah, Callum Gibbons has gotten past Udistira, so that's another move that maybe had a little bit of a moment, but up into that P3 position and gapping. So has a pretty good pace around here. Callum Gibbons does, it seems.
McLaren is fairly strong around here, I would say. Not too bad. Seems as though Malloy had some form of an incident because he was running P8. So I'm not sure if he had a coming together with Sonicus or if he had his own little incident all by himself. Gio Munoz with another penalty, so he's having a great race in terms of penalty points.
Did he maybe get caught up in that massive accident that we had? Or was that behind? Maybe that was behind him. But 3 Hondas here, almost in 4 cars. This Lexus of Nick Van Bar has a Honda VTEC sandwich around him.
I would like to criticize Clark for his very unoriginal team.
As Van Bar's had enough of being behind that, what were we calling that earlier? What did we call that same colour scheme? The Buzz Lightyear colour scheme.
I thought it was like
Easy,
a
isn't
Barney
it?
the dinosaur.
Barney or what are those guys from Dodgeball? The Cobras?
Cobras.
Yeah, similar.
Globo Gym Cobras.
That's the one. Great film.
Fucking Chuck Norris.
But yeah, look at all these Hondas doing. Yeah, so I think this track's BOP is a lot closer together than maybe some other tracks. So even though the Honda may be the worst BOP'd car, I think it's still doable. It's got its own quirks, but still doable around here. A zombie chew. I don't know what a zombie chew is. Do you guys know what a zombie chew is?
Sure, I'm assuming when you have a pet zombie, it's like a dog chew. It's just like something you buy your zombie to chew on so it doesn't chew your brain, I guess.
Smithy, you're gonna have to explain yourself, mate.
I think I have an idea about what he might be suggesting. It might be a snack that you used to get from the canteen in high school. There's a move here. That's well put together. Still side by side. But Clark will have the inside for turn 4. He's basically already got it done. It's a good move. Gold gets the better exit. Clark goes on the defensive. Van Bar.
Oh
Not far
no,
behind.
no, that
That's
is not. We've seen too much of that tonight, and that is very unfortunate. I think, yeah, you just got to be a bit more aware of having your car on the right side there, especially when they run out of room and there's a wall right there. So, not a lot that OGOL could have done, but good to see they only lost one position, but are still racing.
I think it's a weird. Even when you're hot lapping, the braking zone there, it feels as though it shifts a little bit to the left, so it's quite easy to dip a wheel in the braking.
Especially when you're trying to get that ultimate turn in and having the least amount of angle to straight line it, especially in some of those front engine cars. So as you know.
As we see, Sonic is here. He's finally having a race this season where he's actually racing instead of dying on lap 1. So he'll be enjoying this.
Looks like the Jensen Button Rocket Team livery almost, a little bit. Don't mind it.
Not too far off.
A lot of white.
Yeah, I wanted to. I made the white livery with a purple, and he had to match it, so I didn't give him much choice.
He was forced.
Yeah, a bit of a theme here with Kovacs Racing as Corey Sweet is coming up on a backmarker, which I believe is another Kovacs Racing.
Yeah, that's
probably David Neighbour.
No, that's wrong. Yeah, the
Another
purple
one.
one is, and
They're everywhere.
there's 7 Ferraris in the split, I think, and they're all Kovacs races.
Jeez.
So yeah.
Well,
After Mia Rose has left the split, it's only Kovacs races in the Ferraris.
well. So On has closed the gap right up to Pinata. Don't see there being a major opportunity, but I have been wrong before. Probably happy with this P8 spot being on the second row for the next race and not having to qualify. So
Considering he had quite a crap qualifying in the first round, so yeah.
Here's a question: have we seen an amateur in the top 12 any race this round so far?
Yes.
Thistlethwaite.
Thistlethwaite in split yellow. He got top 10s in both rounds, in both races, actually.
So he's not really an AM anymore. He's an AM in name, but not in performance.
He was an AM, I think. During the race, he got upgraded. I think I saw that.
Promoted.
Discord.
Let's have a look. Split yellow. Mercedes. Yep, Pro Am. There you go. Nice job.
There we go. Sonic just gets past, and up ahead, Holmes has gotten past Q3 as well. So I'm not sure if there was an incident, but it seems as though Richuti has dropped off the back as well here, so something may have happened, I guess.
Definitely. So can't complain with that. Another position for On, and probably where's Corey? Maybe 3 laps? No, 2 laps. They go.
Just crossed the line now, so yeah, so 2 laps to go. But Pinata won't give it up too easily. A little bit difficult to get past on here. It's a very unfortunate moment, I think, for Pinata into that chicane. We just got not quite the exit that he wanted. But you're also up against a Bentley, which could certainly gobble up those curbs.
The chicane is merely a little bump in the road.
I think it actually has a different track layout compared to every other car, it seems.
It has the same amount of corners, they're just slightly different in terms of the dynamics of going through there. Udistria must have damage or something, because he's been very slow the last couple of laps.
Yeah, maybe didn't look after his tyres and has had some major pressure loss. I know that is a thing around here, especially if you dip your wheels off a bit too much in some of these slow speed corners. There are some sharp, jagged edges to the sausages.
Also may have underestimated his fuel and trying to conserve a bit of that. Which I suppose is a possibility, but the tyre pressure seems like the more likely option.
Definitely may have a little bit of front damage there too by the looks of it.
So that's the one area where the Bentley is fairly weak, is out of the hairpin there. It's not great out of the slow corners. Brilliant in sector 1 and 2, but sector 3 it's not fantastic.
And Sector 3, definitely my least favourite sector around this track. I just can't nail that last little corner complex or chicane, whatever you would like to call it. As Rashudi's having a no bar of that rear end of the Bentley and is looking very aggressive in racing, so maybe he's going to try and give it up the inside. Just not close enough, I don't think. Not a lot more opportunities to go. It'll be interesting to see what he can do. But up with those leaders, like the gaps just between those drivers is humongous. Corey Sweet, 5 seconds in front of Ben Floyd, who is 6.5 seconds in front of Corey Gibbons. Corey.
Corey Gibbons.
Everyone's Corey tonight. Callum Gibbons, who is 4.5 seconds in front of Corey Holmes. So, you know,
Everything's coming up, Corey.
yeah. Traffic also might just be coming into play into that later third of the race. So, gonna answer that question in chat. Tomorrow, the EU commentators will be Ben McConnell, Raggy, and Mark Meicheljohn, Horn Badger. As Corey Sweet comes around the last corner for the last time this race and takes the win, followed by Corey Floyd in P2 and Corey Gibbons in P3. Fantastic job by them. Samwise Holmes, P4, might have had a bit of issues at the start there, but can't be upset with P4. Still in top 10, followed by Udistira, Rashudi, Sonicus, Pinata, Gutierrez, McLaren, great drive from him. P3 in class, followed by Kieran Johnson, Pickford, Carl. There we go. Sorry about that.
Corey Johnson.
Wow, I've been baited. And O'Gold to wrap out the top 15.
So,
Sanderson.
Kovacs racing front row for the second race. That's nice to see.
Definitely. So Sanderson, Faiz, who has that 10-second penalty, so may lose that second step. Maybe even the last. I'm not sure. No. Will only go down two spots. So McNulty has taken P2 in class, it looks like. As Ronquillo, followed by Parkin, over the line.
Yeah, so John just sent me a message. Apparently his right rear tire was 26.2 PSI by the end of that race, so not ideal.
Yeah, so it goes to show that that pressure loss is real, and maybe looking after your tyres a bit earlier on in the stint could be the key to having a bit more of a successful race around here.
Green light, go, go, go.
As we see the Macagwar.
Or the Jiglaren. Mal,
So
can we? Oh, no.
Sorry?
No, you go.
No, I was going to say Split Red will be enjoying having a full dry race weekend so far, after they've had wet races in the first 2 rounds.
David McNulty's probably crying in his chair. But I was going to say, Mal, can we go drone cam for a sec? I was looking around on the track last night, and there's a staircase on the exit of the like the start of the exit of the pit lane that is just boxed in, and I thought it was one of the funniest things ever. Bit of a laugh about track design. That staircase is in fact boxed in and leaves no there. Oh, you love it.
You can check out anytime you want, but you can never leave.
You are in, but you are never out. Very, I think OSHA would love that. Very fire safe. What do you think pole time's going to be here? Do you reckon any of these pro drivers who may have had a bit of an unfortunate race one, do you reckon we could see any 27s?
We might see 1 or 2 high 27s, maybe.
I certainly think a high 27 is on the cards. You consider some of the people who just missed out on the top 12. Certainly think we don't see a high 27. We'll certainly see probably a 28-1. I think might be up there for super qualifying P1 or P2. We've got cars coming across to start their laps now.
Now here's a fun game for. I would love Preach to play this game. Could we, if you get up a track map on your other screen, would you?
Oh,
I would love to see you try and give us a lap around Zolder in pronouncing all of these corner names perfectly.
I could give it a go, but I've already been ridiculed once in my commentary time.
Look, it's half the game.
Tacos.
We don't have to talk about that.
I don't know if I'd like to see it in Discord again, but we just call them all turn 1, turn 2. Anyway, let's see how we go. We got Norman here coming across the line. Start his lap. Great lap. A good bank as he heads into Erst Links. Turn 2 is Sterenwacht Bocht. JC goes fast at the moment with 28.7. Canal Bocht alongside the Canal. And then Lucien Bianchi Bocht.
I think he's smashing all these, to be honest.
I think the next one might be a little bit easier. This comes up to the Klein chicane. Goes left, then right. I want to use all the track there. Some cars can use it more than others. It becomes turn 6, but to this tricky Gilles Villeneuve chicane. Use all the road, use track limits. So Armand Bocht should be flat. All the exit, little hump here as you go over turn 11. And this is a tricky one. Boulderberg Harspeld Bocht.
You smashed that.
I'm absolutely butchering these, I think, but Joshenrin Bocht. That little left-right kink. Come onto this last back straight. This is Jackie X Bocht. Another tricky chicane. Use all the exit. Some cars you might shift to second. Fourth throttle, rotate the car, and then he's come across the line.
I think that was great. You did well there. See, I didn't ask JP because I know that he smashes all those pronunciations. I don't know if you know like German or I'm not sure what language they speak in Belgium. Is it German?
It'll be Flemish or Dutch.
Yeah, I think Dutch is the
French. But yeah, Flemish is very, very close to Afrikaans, so a lot of the pronunciation is quite similar to my first language. So
yeah, I think he did a fabulous job there, Preach. Yourself a little clap on the back. Clap on the back. That is a new one. Look, talking is extremely difficult. As Charles Clark goes fastest with a 28.6.
my favorite corner is still turn 1. That is just called the first left. That's basically the translation of the name. So it's like But is good. But I mean, it's probably Butter, but the immature child in me says but.
We did giggle when he said it.
You have to giggle when somebody says but on stream.
See, look at that line. That Bentley, it's merely an inconvenience. What was that? Ah, yes. The next chicane.
Okay, the air suspension just eases it out. You don't feel it.
Got one of those cool like bus driver seats. The air seats, yeah. That's cool.
So no 27s as of yet. They're getting fairly close.
great lap from Malloy here.
Has been
Just
cursed
up to
out of the hairpin.
Oh, I've done it to him. Might be my first commentator's curse.
That's it, then I think you've gotten off quite lightly there.
I will say, I think this might be a golf-inspired livery that hasn't quite worked. He should get him up to the top. And it does with a 28.5. Oh, and it's beaten by 28.2 from Clark.
Well, you know where the time is.
And my prediction of a 28.1 isn't far off.
Minute to go here in the second qualifying. Who maybe hasn't got a lap in just yet? Bryce Maddox absolutely yeeting. See, that's a nice livery. I think Braden Ross will be liking that livery. It's a good little, not so bright accent there on what is a nice dark metallic blue. He's done well, Bryce. If he does one thing well, it's liveries.
I think it's a bit like a steel blue. I think it's actually quite steel blue with the clear chrome or the chrome finish. Looking at the lap times of people who haven't done a lap yet, I think Zachary James hasn't done a valid lap yet. So he might be one to watch. See if he can come across the line now and set a lap.
Is he going to get another lap
Put
in?
him
It's
up
going to be
here.
very close.
You can see him in the bottom right corner. Question is he valid?
He's up on something.
He's up on his invalid 36.5.
Is it out lap?
Zach
Malloy.
Malloy goes in with a 28.2.
I'm giving you my best blue steel right now, Moritz. Bit wobbly on exit. Had that same little behaviour in my Honda, and he is going to go P6 with, I don't even know what that is. Couldn't tell you what time that was.
The only other car hasn't set a lap here. But as he just does, he goes up to P6 as well. That's a great lap. Given he didn't have a banker.
Yep. Great stuff there. And I think this might be Bryce Meddings coming through the last... No, I'm wrong. Isaac Norman. He's not going to improve. So that's a quite a spicy best of the rest qualifying there. A lot of different colours of license all throughout. So, uh-oh.
Not wet.
Just overcast.
Oh,
This will
what a
be
joke.
fast.
Fast.
No, it wouldn't be fast, I don't think.
No, I mean
It
the
is an
pace will
optimum
be
track.
fast.
Yeah, it'll be a fast. It will be faster. I think. What are we looking at? 18 ambient there. That's
Let's see.
I think we're looking at
Producer.
20-degree ambient and 25-degree track. Looking at live timing.
Producer, if I could just ask for one thing, I think the OOR banner and the live dot could maybe come down like a centimetre. It's just slightly blocking the weather graphic. He's yelling at me, I can sense it. Bender thought about getting excited whilst those clouds came over there and just got put right back in his seat, I think.
The wind is up. It's at 11 kilometres an hour.
That session start timer is in a weird spot of the screen. I just noticed that. ACC just being ACC. It's not lined up with anything.
Where is it usually?
I don't know. Isn't it usually like...
Is it usually in the middle? Oh.
There you go. Perfect. You'll
That's
never
much
miss
better.
it. Sorry.
If anyone was planning on getting a little screen cap, unfortunately, you'll have to pay OOR the copyright to get rid of the watermark in the middle of the screen.
11K. Is that the biggest 100 that we've seen this round? If you aren't familiar with the 100, up until last season, I thought that little car in the win column was just a 100. I don't know what it was. I couldn't explain why I thought it was a 100, but it looks like a 100.
Looks like a little car.
It, if you squint your eyes a little bit and make it blurry, it looks like 100.
And bash your head against the table 4 times.
I do that. I do that every day. So I warm up commentating, pronouncing names.
Is that why everybody's called Corey today? That you do 5 taps instead of 4 on the
Yeah.
table? And
One too many taps.
yeah,
Just caught the edge of my table. Slight concussion.
I don't know how good the lineup was in our split, but this seems to be fairly straight.
Yeah, tricky place to get stubbies, especially when you got 40 cars. But I think these reverse grids, you can't really do the stubbies, unfortunately, because you only got to call the top 12, because the rest are all in order. So, yeah, I don't know about IOD. Maybe close, I guess. I mean, 100 doesn't make much sense either, so I don't know what I'm talking about.
I think what it all comes down to is we're not going to see rain, unfortunately, which is very disappointing. And we see that ugly wheel again. I'm sure the safety car driver has checked his driver ID and he's checked his twet. So
It's an ugly wheel. I'm gonna say that is the ugliest steering wheel out of all of the GT3s.
it's not a controversial opinion, I would say.
That's not a hot take.
The BMW wheel doesn't look.
I'm a fan. There's no
You're a
BMWs
fan of the
in this
Beamer
split.
wheel.
There's no BMW in this split, unfortunately. It does have that weird rounded bottom, I can agree.
Yeah, I think the Ferrari wheel as well doesn't say much Ferrari about it. I will say that much.
Well, the Lexus wheel just looks like a cheap mod for a G29 that was 3D printed by some guy in his backyard.
I will say I considered making one exactly like the Lexus wheel.
Lambo wheel, best wheel.
With a 3D printer in your backyard.
Well, no, I'd pay someone to do it, but
okay. As we
go
come
for a start, I'll leave
Yep.
leave it to JP.
As we see Pickford and Johnson, the Kovacs duo up ahead, waiting for the green flag. Obviously a little bit delayed with the reverse grid, but we're hoping for a clean start. Bit of a gap there from Gutierrez, closes it up, and we should be going green right about now. Yep, there we go. So everybody's away. Sonic is with a bit of a slow launch there, but he gets a good run through turn 1. Seems to be fairly clean to the guys up in front. There's a bit of a nudge on the back of Pignata. He keeps it going in the right direction. Gutierrez getting all kinds of squirrely, squeezing Sonic. And there's a death by Udistria. That probably won't be a safety car, I would say. It's only 2 cars involved, and they're both off track. As up ahead, seems as though everybody's getting through unscathed. And there's a bit of a sin by I think it's a Manto, if I'm not mistaken. This is not a place you want to go 2 by 2, but they manage it pretty well. The 2 teammates there avoiding each other. And Faiz with an overtake on Hermanto. So the AM driver moves up into P15. Great start there for him.
Yeah, absolutely. That was definitely an improvement on race 1, but a couple of drivers getting maybe unfortunate with as the phrase of the night is, boop on the snoot. And as we see some yellow flags in the background there at the second chicane, so maybe we cursed ourselves there by saying the magical C word. I don't think they're all slowing down, are they? They are! Wow! Wowie, wow, wow. Who would have thunk it? 2 for 2. I think the second chicane, maybe, but yeah, it is strange. There's not maybe the hugest gaps, but another thing that these safety cars kind of do is just bunch everyone up again, and it's kind of like the 2 wet starts where you start single file. I think maybe it's probably just a competition safety car almost. But we saw Pinata maybe getting a bit left out to dry in the marbles there, and that is Udistira, who maybe just understeered a little bit too much, and unfortunately both almost right to the back.
That was quite a weird incident from Udistria because it seemed like the car would not turn at all.
As we can go on board with Pete Viney here. Never mind. the bushes, as there is a boop there, a boop
Oh,
there,
and bigger
a boop.
again involved.
Oh, so
Nice
there's
pirouette.
4 cars that have lost out majorly there, and safety car just going to bunch those cars right up one more time. I dare say this will be the in lap for car 667.
So the guys up front will be loving this because with a safety car, it's about 3 minutes of the race that you're not battling, that you're counting down. So makes it a bit easier to defend. So it'll be interesting to see whether Picky decides to take it early or wait until the line. Bentley is not the best in terms of acceleration, so as the safety car dives into the pits and stops in his customary grass spot.
Yeah, that was a weird thing we saw last race, but maybe that is an instruction from the shooting team, who have been busy tonight and will be busy for this race, I reckon. As Michael Pickford leads us to the green a second time around. Looks like Callum Gibbons and Ben Floyd are going to go too wide in the background there. As we come down towards turn 1, and it looks like the Lexus was hung out to dry, but has rejoined, almost losing a second position there, but not quite, just holding on to it, as that is David
Charles Clark in Honda.
Charles Clark getting absolutely bombarded there on the outside in the marbles. Maybe those tyre pressures just aren't right in the window yet, but still 25 minutes of racing to go, as Corey is probably just having a laugh here behind Corey Gibbons. His winners of the last race. I just called Corey now.
Arias had a bit of an incident there. He's lost 2 places as well.
Corey Floyd looking to make a move, but not getting it done. I think these single file restarts just bring a little bit more breathing to the racing. I don't know, small track, big field, 2x2. It's never going to be clean, is it? There's always going to be something that happens, so it's probably not the worst idea, even with maybe only 2 or 3 cars off track, just to call it.
Yeah, for sure. It certainly avoids all the turn 1 sends that generally leads to the incident. So
yeah. Oh, as we see an accident in the action hairpin, that's an absolute car park. May we see a second one of the night, as the camera is just on the absolute... And that board is going flying. Elves are flying in the background there. I don't think we're going to see another safety car, but that is Bartlett and Harvey having a little 2x2 into the last corner complex. Oof, that has been the action zone of all of the racing tonight, I think. The major danger area, that hairpin in the exit.
that little kink just after the hairpin is what causes a lot of chaos, because especially if you get a poor run out of the hairpin, you try and compromise that little kink and it just leads to sadness, pretty much.
Death. As we see yellows at the first chicane. I'm not sure what car that is. It looks like... I don't know who's dropping like a fly. I couldn't see anyone. Maybe it's just a blue flag.
Yeah.
Sinikis has had a bit of a adventure as he punts that McLaren. That is unfortunate. That is Jamie Conboy, I think, who has been put into the wall. Not sure. I've been wrong before, but
I think it's Wolf.
Rizkio is having an absolute run here. Doing a great job. Him and Dave McNulty both inside the top 20 this race. As Carl Johnson goes fastest lap of 128.95. Not sure how long that'll last, but that'll be interesting to see a replay there of maybe what's happened to Sinikis, who has just tumbled, unfortunately.
I think he was the one who died at the first chicane, it seems, because he dropped from P4, P5.
So, second safety car has been called. Huge. I've never seen a super sprint with 3 safety cars called. I don't know what's the most safety cars? Statisticians in chat. What is the most safety cars we've seen? Oh, he's just lit it up on the exit. Too much yeetage. The replay is in the little box, but I did see it.
Yeah, that's happened to me quite a lot this week. It's quite easy to just burn it on the exit there.
Can we, producer, can we swap the shots around? Thank you. Love it. So, Sonikas just going about his day, has Sam Wide in his rear mirror. Wow. Absolutely sends it on that second half and just too much bouncy and sees himself in the wall. Nose first, unfortunately. So
Only some, obviously, only some light damage to the front with that. It wasn't a huge boop.
on the snoot.
I think he'll be looking at a penalty as well for the incident with Convoy, unfortunately.
Yeah, I think
I
so
don't think it was
too.
Convoy. I think it might have been.
Oh, it may have been a different.
I think it might have been Wolf, Andreas Wolf in that
Okay.
13 McLaren.
Oh,
I think.
Everyone's got to calm down here. Still haven't lined up behind the safety car yet, so just be careful. Those that may not know, there is ghosting on the initial formation lap of the race, but once it goes green, there is no more ghosting, so the drivers have to be really careful. Those incidents that happen under safety car are usually very harshly penalised. As we welcome Raggy to the chat.
Only a real idiot hits somebody under the safety car. I say, pointing
Gonna
at myself.
say you did that tonight.
Not tonight. I did it on my debut at Silverstone last season. Oh, that was a bit of.
Oh, that's very
okay.
unfortunate.
So this must be the replay of what happened at the hairpin of pain, and it's just.
Oh.
Okay. Udasteria's night just keeps getting worse and worse, pretty much.
Oh, in the background too is turn into $1 million lawnmowers. Those things. Oh dear.
I think that might have a little bit less value with the damage now, though. It might only be $900,000 lawnmowers.
So Pete Viney, who was the Ferrari who yeeted the hairpin there, he obviously pitted for damage and is trying to catch up with the back of the pack. I don't think he'll have enough time.
I think the safety car will be in this lap, so not looking like he'll be able to catch the lead lap, unfortunately. But that's the game you play. Like, I don't know, for myself, after having such major damage and then having to stop go 10 in the first race, the second race, you just drive, and if you make up positions, you do, and you just try and get into that top 30 to get as many points as you can.
To be fair, he probably won't be too far off the back, actually, considering how spread out the field is, it seems.
But is he a lap down, or is he on the same lap?
I think he came out before the safety car, so it should be still okay. As we are back
on
racing.
the lead lap?
I'm not 100% sure.
And Pickford leads us to our third effort at green this race. And oh my goodness gracious, I thought Rashidi was going to get a bit in the booty of McLaren there, as Sam Wide thinks about making a move but does not, and returns back to single file for the third time.
Nobody wants a Rachuti in the booty.
No, a Racuti. I wouldn't. I mean, never mind.
I think it is I think it is a Ricky Udi.
As
this is a family-friendly stream.
It is. Apparently, it is. As Corey Sweet, Corey Floyd, and Corey Gibbons are all racing together one more time. As in front there, it looks like Gutierrez looking, but not succeeding at making a move on the inside of Sam White Holmes.
So the Lexus seems to be just as yeetable over the chicanes as the Bentley is, to be honest. It doesn't seem like it gets affected too poorly.
No, I think it has a similar behaviour of maybe not the best, really slow speed. As we see another car park at Danger Avenue, the hairy hairpin has seen so much action tonight. It's unbelievable. And there's some more
going on. I think
there's no way.
We're going to see another safety car.
There is no way. This could be a record. Is there a way?
No. Race is just a big old F.
They've split into 2 splits now. There's no way.
Right.
I think we might be glad that Mull has taken the week off, because boy oh boy do I think he would have some fruitful things to say.
We're gonna looking for a move here for the lead. That's very.
Yeah, that'll be a cut.
There's so much going on here. I don't envy the stewards whatsoever, but they do.
We've got another car
job.
around at turn 4. Do you have another car around? Some more yellows. So, is there a chance?
Surely not.
Number 13 around at the back.
It's only 15 minutes to go. We're halfway done.
Wolf again. And he's teleported to pits.
It's an F. It's a humongous F. But Johnson doing a great job of sticking right with Pickford up ahead, who you kind of really just need to stay with, I think. I'm not sure there's going to be too much opportunity at overtaking, as there seems like another car park at the second chicane. Wowie wow wow. Hayden McLaren goes fastest with a 128.9. Can't complain with that so far. That's an extra couple of points, I believe, but I dare say the hamsters are working at getting us a sweet replay up and running.
Parental guidance is advised for younger viewers.
The post-race team are going to be just working overtime this next week.
Tips a wheel there, so easy to do, and that's definitely might be a cut again. Definitely, maybe.
Maybe track limits are going to come into play soon. We haven't seen much of that tonight, but this, as we go to the replay for the first time of what I think will be many, we've seen another safety car.
There we go.
There it is.
Wow. That's huge. Sorry. So,
Whoa.
no.
Gold.
Oh, gold has gone. Oh,
no.
God. And oh, got by. Oh, that McLaren. Oh, it's an absolute. Oh, I can't get my sentence out.
That sums it up pretty much.
Wow. I'm out. It was nice talking to you guys. I'm just going to go join Malik and cry.
Cue the now infamous line in OOR, the now infamous soundbite.
That's wait, what's going on here? They look like they're catching up to the safety car. Sorry, I'm standing up. If you can't already tell, this is hectic.
Are we sure the safety car has enough fuel for this? Or
imagine if you didn't. Why would look? That would be a clip in itself to go with the safety car clips that we have here in Octane Online Racing. Our favourite Scott Blair spinning up the safety car at Silverstone. We'll never forget that clip. But I think I agree with Philippa in chat. Maybe Split Red are taking over from Split Green's meme status. What do we think?
I would like to say to anybody who's tuned in for the first time to an OOR race, this is not normal. This is just a bit of an exciting incident-prone split so far today. But the drivers usually know how to go around the track without murdering anything in sight.
I say this could be a product of the 40 car grid. That's one of almost
No, we have special events that go over 9 hours, have less safety cars than this, and they've got more cars.
No, but I'm saying it's the shortest track.
Nah. It's just one of those nights we've set a record. We're going to have to call this race something special. So we have to come up with a name with this race. What did you call that corner? Death Valley?
The hairy hairpin.
Hairy hairpin?
Anger Avenue, I'm not sure.
Oh.
Death Drive.
You know when you get so annoyed you start laughing? I mean, I'm sitting here doing all this and pissing myself.
I think you're just glad that you're not commentating tonight.
Nah, it's all good. Sometimes these spectacular events take place and we're all sitting here witnessing it. Everywhere I look on the replay monitor, it's like carnage.
Get it?
Carnage?
Carnage?
Yeah, get it.
Yes.
Awful.
So, I just want to point out David McNulty, the lone amateur in the top 15, doing an absolute stellar job there.
He's been sooking all race because it's not wet.
Well, he hasn't raced barely, I reckon.
Can you imagine this split if it was wet, based on how it is in the dry?
Okay, take 4. Kieran Johnson is getting led by Michael Pickford. Sorry, I get it wrong every time. He's going to lead us for attempt number 4 to the green.
12-minute sprint race.
Praying for you all that there is no more sadness.
Maybe I just don't look behind. Just watch this battle the whole time.
Just go on board with Pickford, because if you can't see it, it didn't happen, right?
There we go. Nothing is going wrong from here. I'll turn off that revision camera.
Just watch Johnson bin it into him in the chicane.
Oh, there's a yellow flag. I'm too scared to look. Yeah, so we have a new thing with the most penalties wins.
But maybe they're just not going to penalise anyone this race and just keep putting safety cars out.
Well, I believe the safety car got a penalty for speeding in pit lane. He got a stop go 30.
And we didn't remove it.
We've also seen safety cars not hit drive and get teleported to pits. Shout out to Joe Darge at Mazzano. We never forget. As Sam White Holmes has a little adventure in the grass, but gets back on track.
Has anybody done a welfare check on the stewards yet?
No, they've gone.
I think they've all...
They're on their 4th bottle of tequila.
They said...
so are the drivers.
You don't need to come to this race tonight. It'll be quiet. Nothing
just unlucky.
Bam.
I was saying the blue and red are just the splits, so there's 4 splits in the AP region. Yellow and green on a Wednesday, and blue and red on a Thursday.
Did someone say this is the new split green?
I thought that it might have taken over the meme status of split green.
Look.
But I think having the biggest field, it has more possibility to have accidents. Just saying.
Oh, definitely, but at the same time, that's been an excessive amount.
Both splits tonight. So, good time to get back in the comms box. As
I'm just waiting for the 4th one. I'm just going to end it on the safety car. It may be the first race it finishes under safety car.
Oh, don't curse it, please. That is a lot of chicane.
Mate, you've had quite a few curses tonight, mate. I'm quite proud of you.
Yeah, it's my job, apparently. And Johnson, right at the back of Pickford, has to be careful here under the brakes. He's going to try around the outside, but Pickford is going to just put his car in the way. I don't think there's enough room for a switch back in. He just tucks in for another lap. We've seen a lot of that tonight. You can't, there's not a lot of room to work with on the outside anywhere around this track, so it's all you got to do as a defender, get your car in the way and good to go.
I think in terms of just pace, Johnson is definitely the quicker of the two, but as you said, it's not exactly overtake central at Zolder, so he'll be hoping for Pickford to make some form of a mistake, as he looked as though he was drifting in there, but he still carried a lot of speed to it.
I just want to say, these stewards have 8 minutes to get all of these penalties out. I don't know if...
No, they don't. I've already told them. I just told them if anything's been happening from now on, just post-race everything.
Yeah, no, but from the rest of the race.
Beforehand, it doesn't matter. Just post. If it's not affecting us straight away, just post-race it.
Okay. As McLaren looking to get a move done, can't stick his nose on either side of that Ferrari, and has to just be careful here. P3, P1 in class, doing a fabulous job. Hopefully he can keep it on the straight and narrow and secure a good result here, as he has some absolute Zoomy boys on his tailpipe.
Hey Google, call Michael Massey.
He doesn't check his emails in the middle of the
Sorry, who do you want to call?
Fuck you.
Michael Massey.
Anyway, I'll leave you guys to it. I'm not going to curse anything. I just wanted to see if there was a 4th one so I can lose my mind.
I mean, you will be cursing. You won't just be cursing the race.
That's correct.
Is that a record now?
Yes, it is. We've never had 3.
In one.
We've had a couple of super sprints where we had the 20-20-20 format. They could have had yellow flags the entire race, but
Good
all
times.
the yellow safety car. Anyway, enjoy.
Talk about that format. Fun fact: this was the last track that format was trialed at. So maybe Zolder is just the Thunderdome for safety cars and accidents like that. But this is the longest we've been green this race so far, and I don't think we'll see too many movers and shakers. To be honest, tyres would probably be hating their life right now, as they.
Debo with an absolute yeet there in McLaren.
That's probably what he has to do to stay in front of these two Lexi. Lexuses? Lexi?
Let's go.
I like Lexi.
Lexi works, I guess.
Octopi, Lexi. It works.
But
I
it's
think.
gapped it.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a send by Samwise on duty. Seems to have defended it. That'll garner the interest of Gutierrez. Hoping to maybe stick a nose in somewhere. Oh, and a send again.
Send-wise, up the inside there, maybe gonna be able to. I'm not sure what the straight line between the two are, but as you said, Gutierrez probably licking his chops right now, hoping that something happens, but I don't think he's gonna be able to get it done. Nice work there from Sandwise Holmes.
Gibbo looking for a run on Gutierrez as well. Oh, a little bit of contact there.
There's so much happening right here. This little
Gibbo.
battle pack.
Well, the scary thing then is there is a yearly, I think it's a 12-hour at Zolder. So Octane should jump on that, I think.
I saw that Jimmy Broadbent is doing 23 hours of Zolder to raise awareness for mental health of some description, so I thought that was quite cool to see, but I don't envy him.
I mean, no offense, but you need some kind of mental deficiency to do 23 hours of Zolder.
I was going to say I don't think doing 23 hours of Zolder would be great for anyone's mental health. I think anger issues would certainly come out.
I would get sick of the bouncy chicken, but I don't know if we'd have enough tyres for that in ACC. Oh no, maybe you do. Onset every hour. I'm wrong. I'll just stand back and watch.
You can get 50 sets in a server.
Yep.
From when you join.
Give up. Numbers up my suit.
So Pickford seems to have cleared off and gapped Johnson. I think Johnson, in terms of defending against McLaren, has lost out a little bit. So I think Pickford has the win. But P3 up and down seems to be very much up for grabs in this little gaggle of cars here.
I certainly think there's a battle going on, probably for 10th place, which is also third in class from Pro-Am. Charles Clark and the Corn Boy.
Corn Boy.
Don't see that.
9-hour spectators will understand where that comes from.
Oh, Gibbons with the little wiggle there. That'll allow Corey Floyd to get the inside line into the chicane here.
Oh, it's a bit deep from Ben there, so Corey, I'm just going to say Corey got hung out to dry there a little bit on the outside.
Which one?
But that's the half the fun. Corey Gibbons. We always speak of this. This will be the talking point for the next few weeks, I reckon, in the steward's box.
As we'll move into the hairpin.
Send on Meddings, I think.
Been lamp rolled one more time. Start calling ourselves Daft Punk. As Rashuti is probably just going to be complacent here with the P4.
McLaren got past Johnson there as well, for P2.
Oh, never mind, I'm wrong. So Pickford has had a godsend from McLaren making that move on Johnson, so he's almost 3 seconds up the road, so I'm not talking anymore. I'm done. I'm out.
That's not how commentary works, but generally you talk.
I try.
I think maybe I get a look at the battle for P10. Producer can. So I think that battle's going to get much closer now. It's down to just over 2.5 tenths.
We're on flag out there.
Corn Boy sending around the outside into the second bounce the chicken.
That's a bit deep by Cornboy. No, he pulls it up. Nicely done.
That's,
And there's a cut for Clark.
That's a great move for P10 from the Corn Boy.
Nice job, producer. We love your work.
That was amazing. Get it? Get it? Maze?
Oh.
I don't get it. I hate corn. So.
Sorry, that was a very corny joke.
I think they're gonna have to be some consequences for you. Yeah, that was good.
Yeah,
I do hate corn, Diabols. I do. Corn can get in the bin. Worst vegetable out there. I said it.
Excuse me, have you heard about Brussels sprouts?
I'm a fan.
That's a
As
manto.
a manto, hopefully he didn't think that was the checkered for some reason.
I think Sonicus was just behind him, so I'm hoping that he hasn't had another drama.
I wonder if Hamato might have been making a move onto Neighbour though. It could be the other occurrence.
That is also possible.
So they're only a tenth apart
As
at the start finish line.
Corey Gibbons and Corey Sweet are
Good
just
run
going
for
at it one more time.
Ooh, there's a Gutierrez very wide there.
Yep.
For the esports line.
These three have just been battling both races as well, so this is great stuff to watch. I'm going to get triggered very soon as we have David Neighbour and Hermanto. I think maybe there was just an effort. I can tell you firsthand that does not work there, unfortunately.
No, that is not a good place to send it, unfortunately.
Just going to build a little sandcastle out here.
Probably stalled.
Corn and celery are my only two hated vegetables. I think celery is a vegetable. Is it a vegetable? Or is it a leaf of some
I
description?
mean, yes, it's a
Who
vegetable.
knows?
Is it really a food? Is more of a question. It's called the royal we Emirates, referring to the Sonicus in general. As we see Ben there on the inside of Gutierrez, he makes it stick.
I'm going to leave any food talk. As I said, I don't want to get ridiculed once again in the Discord.
As the true Corey there goes for the send, that's a bit of a rude move, but he made it, pulled it off.
Goods will decide post race if he was up far enough.
It was robust. I think it was pretty fair, but it was quite robust. McLaren has closed the gap to Pickford, but unfortunately I think he just ran out of time, so he won't be able to get that position. As Pickford comes around the last corner, should be crossing the line to take the win. McLaren 1.6 seconds behind him will take P2 and first in class, and Johnson P3. Great finish for the Kovacs boys. Holmes in 4th, Rachuti, Floyd, Gutierrez, Sweet, Gibbons, and Cornboy rounding out your top 10 for the race. We have Bender McNulty pulling in a P15 and a AM class win in a class of his own today.
Yeah, what turned out to be a little 8-minute sprint has probably been a really difficult mentally race for a few people, I dare say.
Bartlett crossing the line there. He had a drive through, so I think that might have been for track limits.
Except for one of the only ones we've seen tonight.
So not seen a lot of penalties handed out, so I'm assuming there's going to be a lot of post-race action. Or the stewards have just gone with a say la vie attitude and just let it go and say, meh.
Yeah, I think so. I dare say Cam Farmer is going to be one busy man the next week, but that concludes our Asia Pacific round here at
Green light, give it okay.
Zolder. On to North America next in about 10 hours from my
Are you
maths.
forgetting EU?
What? No, that's
Are you
after,
forgetting
isn't
Europe?
it?
No,
Isn't
Europe
EU
is
after
before
NA?
North America. No.
Well,
Okay, just before that happens, the race results here in race 1. We have Corey Sweet in first, Corey Floyd and Corey Gibbons. And then we have Corey Pignata in the AM class, Corey Gutierrez and Corey McLaren in the Pro-Ams. And Sanderson, McNulty, Faiz is your top 3 in the AMs. And then race 2, obviously Pickford winning in the Pro class with McLaren first in class for the Pro-Ams and second overall. Johnson in third. As mentioned, McLaren in first there, Gutierrez in second, Conboy in third, and Bender taking the win in the AMs, Philpott and Parkin. And Zach Martin absolutely owning the silver class.
taking
No
the silver
competition.
championship. Well done.
So yeah, that was I would say it was a good night of racing, but it was a good night of cars on a track.
There were cars, there was a track, there was some racing, but there was it's mentioned that we don't need to talk about this round anymore, so it's nice knowing you. Maybe we'll see this uploaded as some of the most sadness in OOR's history. Oh, as we see a visual representation of the stewards.
And I think the man of the match tonight might be the safety car. Was deployed 3 times.
4 times over this whole split.
Yeah, 4 times over the 2 races. Surprisingly, not a wet race that it was needed in, but certainly man of the match tonight goes to the safety car as race control decide that he is the driver of the day.
Yeah.
I don't know who our race director was tonight. Maybe Sean Bubnow or Alex Ime.
Alex Ime, yeah.
There you go. Well, thank you very much to all involved tonight, especially everyone that has volunteered their time and efforts. I think that will conclude today's stream. Appreciate all the support in chat, everyone that's followed, and especially the 4 other gents that have joined me in the comments box. I hope to see you guys next week in Barcelona.
Oh, thank you very much. As we see Malak leaving Zolder in disgust and flying out into there. Thank you everybody for joining, and don't forget to leave a like on the stream and subscribe if you have not yet.
Hit 100 likes.
Absolutely, yeah. We were a bit hit the late mark to push that, but you know we appreciate all the likes and the subscriptions. They really do help out the channel. So if you haven't already, be sure to do those. And we will. The EU people will see you in a few hours.
Good night, guys.